What's going on, everybody? We're back Sunday doing just some afternoon work. On Friday night, we had started on the Cross RC. This was the HC4. I ended up stopping like just short of finishing the beadlock wheels, but I ended up getting the rest of that done, and then I've just set the body on here. I actually am going to go through and do all of the suggested painting and all of that to get this truck finished, because while it was a pain in some ways, it was still a fun build, and I do actually kind of enjoy that just ever so slightly. So I am going to finish this, and then we also had the howitzer, and we talked about either doing one or the other, but I went through and kind of like looked at a lot of the instructions on that, and that one is definitely one of those ones that I think needs a bunch of stuff pre-painted just with how everything goes together. So we're going to save that one maybe for next week. I'm going to try and get some work done ahead of time possibly, or maybe I'll work on the body of this one and then back to that one. But anyway, my wife she just came back in. Nicole is here, so she'll be helping with comments and such again. So that's what we got done. I got a little bit done extra after the live build. But today I'm going to do a little bit of work on the Woods Runner. This was the last truck of the first season to flip that truck.
Oh, you're not working on that one?
No, the gun needs a lot of painting done before it's like.
Can you make that bigger?
Oh, sure. There you go.
Sorry, I'm late to the party.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure. I did do audio check a little bit before things started, but hopefully.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find out.
So, let's see. I'm sure that is not helping the noise.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I planned on working on today a little bit was I want to work on some inner fenders on the back side of the carbon fiber work that's in the chassis of this. So let's see. Try and show that carbon fiber. There. Can we see it? It's hard to do the handheld camera thing. But you can see all the carbon fiber work on the inside of there. I want to back that with aluminum so that you can actually still see the carbon fiber, but...
Okay, you want to say hello?
Yes, let's say hello.
Phoenix RC, how we doing?
Was he the one who didn't like Tiger King?
He did, but I think I changed his mind. Gene Belcher says hello today. Keith, hey, woohoo. Hello from Central Utah. What are you doing with the semi-type truck? Wow, it's done. How was the rest of the build on that Cross RC? What's up from Virginia? Hey Josh, what's up? Just broke out my red, white, and blue Jeep for the first time in a while and forgot how much fun it was. The most fun thing I've done during quarantine.
Nice.
Is it peanut butter jelly time?
Peanut butter jelly.
Let's see. Audio is good.
All right, we're in good shape then. So actually, talking about the rest of the build on the on that Cross, there wasn't really much left from after we got done. I just finished putting the wheels and tires together and then put them on there, and then that body just sat there. We pretty much had that truck to that point. So you saw most of it. I maybe did another 20 minutes worth of work to get it as you see it there. So, and I'm going to finish it out, I think, get it all complete, and then we'll call it done. So.
Okay. Is that a BS410 chassis?
This one is not. This is actually just an SCX-10 2. Although it does have D44 offset front axle in it, like a VS410. But other than that, it's just an SCX-10 2 chassis with some nice tube work done on it.
Okay. Somebody asked what camera setup you use. Before you go into that, sort of fast said I have to stop watching when you were working on the Woods truck. There's not a lot of trucks out there. Other people built that I want, but this is one of them. Who makes the light bar in your truck? You can get back to that one so we can keep doing hellos. Somebody wants to know how I'm associated with Fast Eddie Bearings. I work for them. Ready? What's up from Texas? What's up from Kansas? Got a hometown boy. Hello, everyone. Let's roll. Oh, we're in Jeff City.
Jeff City, Missouri?
Yeah.
Unless there's another Jeff City.
No, it says Missouri. It says, I'm sorry, it says Jefferson, Missouri, not Jeff City.
Okay.
I misread that. We have Nebraska. That's where you're from. Quick questions. Does the VS410 Pro kit come with Fast City bearings?
So, well, we can get to a bunch of these, but
Yes.
the VS410 kit comes with, I guess those don't technically come with Fast City bearings.
But you can buy them.
But you can buy a Fast City bearing kit for it if you'd like.
You can. We even have no, not the Pro. Lewis got stickers with his wheels, finally.
So, yes, we've been throwing stickers in with everything lately.
Yes.
I will say that our normal packing guys are not in there. So it's myself and Brandon and Jim who are packing everything right now. So we're making it rain stickers on everybody.
Perfect. So, Philly Max is a big fan of the channel. I'm a lab scientist, the only one into maybe RC. I find that hard to believe.
I know. I have to think that.
I'm doing COVID testing. Just wanted to say it's okay to have some normalcy. Thanks, Josh. Love the updates. Thank you for doing that, keeping everybody safe. Hey, cool cats and kittens.
Perfect.
Concord, New Hampshire. Perth, Australia.
Nice.
Michigan. Santa Quinn.
Santa Quint. I don't know where that is.
Spring Hill, Florida.
So I had a couple questions. The light bar on this truck is a Vanquish 4-inch light bar. Just a regular rigid Vanquish 4-inch. And the camera setup is my normal filming setup, basically. Well, kind of. But it's all run through a piece of software called OBS Studio, which is free. But my main camera here is a Sony a6400. This camera up here in the corner right now is a Canon SL2. And then I've got that little handheld close-up one, which is a webcam on a tripod. And it's just a Logitech C920. So the two SLRs, or one mirrorless, one SLR, are run through Elgato cam links into my PC. There you go. Full deal. Nerd out. I love camera stuff.
Is that the Stampede size body?
Okay, so I wondered that as well. So I actually ordered a Stampede size body through RC Country, and then we got it in, and it is definitely not. I think it's the full max size, but this has been narrowed. You can see this seam right down the middle, and I mean, like you can see it in the light here. You can see it perfectly, but when it's in person, it doesn't look out of place at all. The line is cut so straight. I don't know how they did it. You can see it's reinforced on the backside, and then the whole truck is painted on the outside, so it gives it that nice dull look. I mean, it's just done really well. So I think it's the max size, and then cut and spliced accordingly.
Okay, somebody said something. My mic is acting weird.
Your mic?
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Give us an update. So we have people from everywhere, Josh.
Yes.
Ireland, Ontario,
Hello from everywhere. To everywhere. Whatever.
England, St. Louis. Somebody, Mayhem RC says, love that truck. A friend of mine built that here in Georgia.
I think DS Fabworks is, I believe, who built it. And I think his name is Devin Shickley. I'm sure I'm saying his last name wrong, like always. But it's absolutely some of the nicest tube work. And then it was initially owned and probably finished by Cody Seafelt out of Georgia as well.
It's probably his buddy.
I'm thinking it is.
Yeah.
I sent.
You still have Sprite Box left?
I do have Sprite Box left.
He's going to have to start on the bubbly.
Yeah, Bubbly Box will follow soon because this is like the last remnants of the Sprite templates.
Galen Garrett just gave us $5. Thank you.
Thanks, Galen.
Just tune in, and I see Josh ripping electronics out like he's trying to find gold inside. I like.
Yes. So I've got, that is one thing I like. I made this 3D printed mount. Actually, I've got this one. This is the 3D printed mount I made for my ESC, and it's all it bolts in through the fan where the fan would mount to the heatsink, and those are M3 screws. So I like to make various mounts so that I can actually just screw to it, and then I can drop it right in. It's giving you that weird. Well, let's see what we can do about her mic.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and update her mic the best I can. So, I don't know. We'll see if that does it.
Okay. We shall see.
Yeah, you're back on. So, we'll see.
Right. Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses. I can't read. Let's see. Somebody gave us $4. Can you read that?
Squatchicane?
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. That is an interesting name.
Maybe you can buy a mini mic now.
Yes, I suppose I should. I need to find out what the best mic would be to buy for you and see how much that's going to cost us. I'd get you one of these, but this one was like $200.
Yeah, no. No, we're not going to do that.
Ooh, if I did get you one of those, though, I could run it through my Zoom and then have. Ooh, maybe I should.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
We could get into like the sound effects business then.
You're going to get into the sound effects business?
Probably
I
not.
think you should probably like mow the lawn and then take out the trash first, and then you can get into whatever else you feel like you need to get into. Okay, I think I'm almost done. I think I can almost see again. Fixed it.
Oh, good. Sorry. We'll get out of that view so you guys don't.
No, I didn't.
I wonder if that's how it. That's like how it feels when you drop your phone on your face by watching that. I did that the other night.
I know, that was funny.
We were laying in bed and I was looking at my phone, dropped it right on my face.
I wonder how many black eyes are there or on. Okay, and I just touched them with my fingers. Oh my god, I'm having a hard time. I just can't see anything. That's good enough. Nicole means a hurricane of Sasquatches. It's like Sharknado, but with more hair involved.
Oh,
That's
the Squatchicane. Yeah, Squatchicane.
Yeah. Oh, your mom and dad are here.
Hello. Hey, did you see my mom got me a gift? See this in the back over here?
Yeah.
Our new LED sign.
I know.
I have to actually figure out how to get it permanently.
Somewhere.
We've been experimenting with placement.
Suits is here. Let's see. I guess I can go back up. When are you going to share the 3D print files of your 2-inch brush?
My 2-inch brush.
Is that right?
Where is this? I'm wondering if he means my paintbrush, because that's the only thing I could think of. And he's just being funny.
Okay. What slicing software do you use?
I use Cura, which I don't know that everyone thinks is the best, but I use it because it's good enough. So this cardboard template behind here is what I'm working on right now. That's just going to be brushed aluminum to back the carbon fiber. And then there's a lower section here, which is going to actually be a separate piece because of the carbon fiber tray in here. I can't bridge between them without stretching and bending things a lot more. So we're gonna.
Me and my wife watched 4 hours on Friday night. She just said they're live again. That was my thought. I agree.
You're the one who said it.
I just said we would, so I guess are you still planning on it? I was just asking. Hit the like button, folks. Moms are great. Shout out to moms. Great. Is that just an extend transmission in there?
Yes, it is. Standard 3-gear. Makes for that kind of a large hump in the center of the chassis, but it's not terrible.
Somebody said I needed a raise.
Was it just you? Or?
Maybe. Use the roll of double-sided tape. My buddy Bilson, I'm assuming built inner fender walls out of cardboard and painted them with fiberglass resin, and they actually lasted.
Oh, I could see that.
Okay.
That's kind of. I've been. I spent a lot of the morning researching what vacuum pump and resin and peel, like all of the things I need so that I can start getting into molding my own carbon fiber. I'm very excited. I think Nicole is too.
Yeah. Probably still won't get the trash taken out, but we're good. Priorities. Now you just need a single green plant in a white pot.
Yes, and I will have all of the YouTube requirements.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, it's pretty. Let's see.
Some Robert Finney likes Kira. Are those enduro shocks in that truck?
These are element shocks or associated shocks, and I think they're stock element. It's a good question. I haven't actually compared to my element. So these are associated shocks, but they've got the bronze bodies on them. Whereas the element shocks have just a polished aluminum body, or a clear anodized, whatever. So these are upgraded at least. Maybe they came off of a different associated or whatever, but they're a nice shock. They feel great. Nice large bore.
Don't you have a lav mic?
I do, but do you want me to get in to tell you why I'm not using it?
I don't. Hey Josh, in that Woods Runner, would the Proline ambush body fit on it with some mods?
It's possible. And that's probably one of the bodies that I like more. But being that this one came as a C10, I almost feel like I should keep it that way. Even though my original one that I built was a Scout. So, I don't know. I'm having a hard time deciding. What I might do is try and get another body like this, replicate it best I can, and then actually try and pull my first carbon fiber molds based off of it. So.
Ooh, Jeremy Wade.
Jeremy Wade?
Isn't that the guy from...
Oh, from River Monsters?
River Monsters. I love that show. He has to go to bed, so give him a 30-second walk around of the build, please.
Okay, we can do that. So, we'll do a close-up. So like I said, this is a SCX-10 chassis, like you can see, and the tube work is nicely done, all welded. It's 1/8 inch up in the front, and then 3/16 tubing kind of everywhere else. The design of the chassis is pretty similar to the Woods Runner templates that I designed and put on my website a long time ago. There's a lot of things about it that are very similar. Not all of it. It's definitely been adjusted to fit whatever he was doing in a better way. I really like how he did the front end. I think it's a lot better than my original. It's got a cool custom bumper on the front that looks great. It's kind of a cool style. Has a chassis mounted servo that's sideways, which is okay. Makes for a short drag link, but it's not terrible. The interior is all kind of custom done out of styrene. I designed and 3D printed a new dash for it, like you can see in there. So, and I put a voltmeter behind it and a race pack style opening. Then I've got a big opening here in the center where I'm going to put some sort of digital display. I redid the entire rear bed, though. Moved everything around. I got the ESC out of the back and moved it to the front. Moved this aluminum RC four-wheel drive fuel cell forward, and then I put in a new chrome VS410 radiator. The chrome radiator sets are actually going to be available before too long. That'll be like the grill and the shrouds, the blade, everything in chrome. So that'll be fun. Then I added some scale tubing out of 12 or 14 gauge wire. Let's see. I mean, beyond that, it's got D44 Vanquish axles, centered in the rear, offset in the front. I've swapped all of the links out for new incision links, other than a couple in the front, which I need to finish the tie rod. The rest I'll probably leave. So got that all looking more uniform now. It's got some carbon fiber here on the sliders. I'm going to make a shroud for this, clean it up a little bit more. But have some wiring in here for the new taillights that I did, which are 3D printed housings with frosted Lexan behind them. Light up with some 1-inch LED strips. Kind of fun. But that's your kind of quick and dirty walk around.
That was not quick.
Yeah.
Have you ever built or thought of building a full-size off-road something? I would suggest a Bronco if you're planning to build something.
So, did, and then, so I had what year was the Scout? 63?
It was Rust.
It was not
Rust
that
was
bad.
the year.
And we were going to do a build very similar to this because it was the full-size truck that I really liked that I modeled the small ones after. And then that was basically right at the time when we decided to uproot everything and move to California. So now the Scout still lives in Missouri or Kansas technically.
Actually, yeah.
Technically, it's
on
in
the
Kansas.
On the Kansas side of Kansas City. What do you use to cut your metal sheets? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, perfect.
These are a simple set of WIS tin snips. But I also have an 8-inch shear in the garage now, which would be much handier for the straight cuts. Granted, most of this is not straight. So I'm just doing a quick cut with these. Now, granted, shears like this do leave a bit of a serrated edge. So it'll take some sanding and filing to get where we need. But this is 0.25 thick aluminum sheet, so it's super easy to work with. And a sheet like this will cost you like $3. So it's cheap, it's rigid, gives you a good finish.
I put mount stuff on it sometimes and to hang them.
Yes.
Some of my hatch prints.
What was it? Mount stuff? Decoupage or
Yeah.
like decoupage?
Yeah. It's a good backer for pictures and stuff. Hi from Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna get back to it. I'd love the dimensions of this rig.
Which that will be very easy for you. If you go to my website, which is harleydesigns.com, I have files, a PDF file with every tube, like length, bend diameters, full plan sheets, so that you can build basically this. Like I said, he made some modifications to this, but you can go on my website, download them, they're free, and build your own. And like every step of it is covered.
Cool. You need to get some Midwest offset snips. They work a lot better than those straights you're using.
I do have some offsets in the garage, and I do like them as well. But I'm not gonna lie, for some reason I like the straight ones. Like I feel like I don't know why.
Your 3D printing stuff is next level. It's better than saying, "Could you please make something better?"
Yes. Could you make a better truck?
Yeah,
That was I think it was there had to be a translation
I'm
issue.
sure it was, but it was hilarious.
How many times have you told me that since not the live stream?
Oh my gosh. I'm like,
could you make something better?
Could you just do that better? Could you like do that, what you're doing, but like better? Like different, but like the same, but like better.
But better.
And your big old head.
Yes.
Just bought Wraith 1.9. Are going to see more building on your Wraith.
I think so. I feel like I should get back to that. I get enough questions about it that I feel like I should.
Let's see. He wants. Is that where he can find the paintbrush file too?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy Wade said, "Thanks, buddy. Couldn't make it through the 4 hours again tonight."
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll be here that long.
Proud of you. You added scale details. Add a scale driver, and your journey to the dark side will be complete.
Yeah. We'll see.
I mean, who's driving it? If
It's a Tesla Woods Runner.
Ew. If you want some inspiration on your Scout 8800, you should come by my work here in Grass Valley. I think that sounds pretty dangerous.
Oh. I wonder what shop he's at in Grass Valley.
What shop are you at in Grass Valley?
I follow some of them on Instagram, like WFO, and I think there's. Do you know how many amazing off-road shops there are?
I know.
And like in Grass Valley
Right up
area.
around there. I love it up
Everyone
there.
up here does cool shit.
Yeah. Cars are just amazing out here. Bucks RC World's here. Okay, working on my SCX 10.3. I have a Hobby Wing 1080. My motor choices are Holmes 27T or 50T on hand. I like slow crawling. What would the 50T be best?
Okay, sorry. SCX 1080. Are those your only choices?
Yes.
Those two? Like, 50 turn is pretty slow. I have a hard. I know if you only like just slow crawling, then go with that. But I would encourage you to try the 27 turn. And otherwise, if you lean towards slow, but I would say get a 35 turn at least. But I would encourage you try the 27 turn first, and then just see if you can get to like it, because learning how to drive with a little bit faster motor can really open up some performance of your truck. There's some stuff you just can't slow crawl. Sometimes you need to give it a little bump.
Oh.
What? That's true.
Okay. Do you know the part number for the parts tree for installing non-spectrum servos in the SCX 10.3?
Oh, I do not know that one off the top of my head.
You know any part number for a parts tree off the top of your head?
Sure. IRC 212.
Okay,
Is it?
we're good. I believe you. So since Josh had tiny trucks for hobby/job, what does Mrs. Josh have as a hobby? Surely he gives you one little corner in the house for yourself. Actually, this is his one little corner in the house for himself. Otherwise, myself is out there in the rest of the house. My hobby, I'm a knitter, I guess. And yeah, and somebody said making fun of Josh, and yeah, that is that's a pretty
full-time job.
Full-time, yeah, job for me. But yeah, we like to travel, and I'm pretty boring. Yeah.
Live PD.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I like TV. I do like TV.
Yeah.
I like my shows.
Her friends.
Yes.
Her friends on the news.
All my friends. Okay. Michael from Indiana, I think?
Kabotica.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know how you actually say it. I say Kabotica like the tractor, but.
Hello, friends. Is Josh building dollhouse accessories?
Dolls and
think
dollhouse accessories.
Maybe that should be my hobby.
Dollhouse accessories?
Yeah. No, I don't have the patience for that. What do you think about the 10.3 having 90mm shocks when the Ultra has 80?
Just a difference. We wanted to get it a little bit lower. I think that a lot of times that the masses don't necessarily like as low as sometimes we build. I think we're just kind of building for different audiences, but I like 90 mil shocks on most of my stuff, so I don't think it's a bad thing. But on the Ultra, we preferred the 80s. That's why we decided to go that route.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
What's that?
Somebody found the part number for you.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
There's a lot of like little mounting screws and things in this, and I just have to pull some of those out to.
What is that? What's that little guy?
What's what little guy? Oh, it's just a weird little emoji. I don't know.
Oh wait, it says you got this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you can put the mouse over the emoji. It tells you what it means for people who are computer challenged like myself. Are those XL size 1.9 tires? They look huge.
They are. They're the 475s, which is the size that I usually go to. So.
What hex sets do you use? I'm assuming that means hex.
Yeah, you probably. Most of the time I use my Vanquish drivers. I've got this one out right now, which is a Traxxas, because they have a 2.0 millimeter ball end wrench, which can be super handy. I don't like to use a ball end unless it's like you have to. Like there's just not another way to get to something. Then I'll use a ball end. Other than that, I try not to use these whenever I can. Just have a bigger chance of stripping a screw.
When will we see the new flip truck?
Early this week. I'm waiting on one thing to arrive, and then that one will get shown. All right.
I've been meaning to ask you. I remember you posting about a basher truck you had a while back. Was it an Arma?
Yeah, I've got a Arma Outcast, which I like.
Dawson from Grass Valley said it's called IH Parts America. We build IH vehicles and only IH vehicles with all of their rest. We have a Facebook and Instagram page.
Dang. Okay.
What does that mean? What's IH?
International Harvester, who's the maker of.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Don't they just make tractors?
Well, that's why. Yeah.
I thought they only make tractors.
Well,
I forgot that
was kind of the joke. Corn binders.
Yes. Thank you, Barbecue, for the. What's the size of the cage?
So, if you just want like this is 3/16 inch material. There's some 1/8 inch material on here as well, and then if you just want like just rough overall dimensions, just for a point of reference, it's about 6.5 inches wide at the doors. At the very tail, it's only about 4 1/4, and then overall, you're looking around 16 inches from the tail to up about the servo. So, obviously there's another couple inches until the front of the bumper, but 2.5 inches there. So,
what do you think is going to be the next Tiger King?
Ooh,
Tiger King 2? Duh.
They did say that there's enough for more episodes.
Oh, hells yeah, there is. There's gotta be. Or just Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's just going to be a series called Oklahoma.
Like, if you think that's the weirdest shit to come out of Oklahoma, you are sorely mistaken.
Yeah. You ever been to Disney, Oklahoma?
Hogan's
yeah.
is going to be the next Tiger King.
Exactly. It's just going to be called Hogan's Off-Road Park.
But there's definitely some bodies buried in them trailers, like, for sure.
Man.
There's for sure. And there's got to be exotic animals somewhere in there.
Yeah, but they're just, inbred versions of cats.
Right. Yeah. They're like Hogan's is definitely going to be the next Tiger King. Tim Perkins says, I've seen a couple of videos of you spotting for We Rock, but have you ever been interested in 1.1 vehicles yourself?
Absolutely. And I would be all over it, but full-size vehicles take space, time, and money.
Most importantly, yeah.
So, if I had the ability or if I wanted to dedicate, you could have a very nice off-road rig for the cost of what
Okay.
the trucks in here
That's
are. But
silly.
like, I'm not going to give this up. So
One of our very best friends in the world is super into it. Actually, just opened is in the process of opening a off-road shop. But if you are into 1-1 vehicles and racing, you should watch out for his son, who's going to be, who's my baby and going to be the next big thing in 1-1 and off-roading. Caleb Good.
yeah, Jake's off-road on Instagram.
Yeah, Jake's off-road, but Caleb's kicking ass and taking names, and he's not even 16 yet, so he's going to be one to watch. Let's see. We were close. Kopitka.
Yeah,
That makes more sense.
I'm still going to call him tractor, like a tractor though.
Okay. I put the 10.3 soft springs up front like your honcho seems too soft. Am I right or wrong?
I mean, I don't know if what truck you're considering or discussing, but if it's on just a regular SCX 10.2 that you did it, it can be soft. It's just, that's an easy mod to do if your truck is basically stock. And it's just one of those little tuning things to sometimes attempt. It's not necessarily the go-to, but just an option since they send you 2 different sets of springs in an SCX 10.2. It's an easy one to see if you like it.
Okay. So, I heard him say he liked the cross build. It has leaf springs. My question is, who are you and what did you do with the real Josh?
It wasn't it was a pain in the ass to build, but
Did you finish it?
we were almost done, really.
Oh.
I didn't finish like the body stuff. That needs a bunch of paint and detail, and I think I'm going to do it actually.
Oh, wow. 'Cause you don't have
All
anything
this
else to do.
staying at home is really,
You're not even staying. What's a good servo under $60 for crawling?
I honestly don't have the best info on that. I don't know. I haven't tested a lot of servos under $60. So I feel like my opinion on that would be low or, uneducated.
There you go. Thoughts on metal portals on a custom SCX 10.2 build?
Yeah, why not? I've got metal portals on a lot of builds.
Michigan, checking in. Josh, what do you use to clean all the old shock oil out of your shocks to put new in?
I don't know why you need to clean out the old.
Yeah, don't ask him about cleaning. 'Cause
I
that doesn't happen. Unless it's...
I usually just dump it upside down and move the piston as much as I can just to try and get anything onto a rag and then just fill it up again. Unless it's what, by the way?
super dirty and you want to do it in my sink that usually I've just cleaned.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually when the only time he feels the need to clean something. SCX-10-3 with a new style honcho body that would look like the current Tacoma would be awesome.
I agree. Although, I could take or leave the actual Tacoma part, but...
Josh, do you still have your Ultra 4 and is it still for sale?
My old Matzilla Ultra 4? No, it's been gone long time.
Okay. Have you guys ever watched Schitt's Creek on Netflix? We have not.
I never.
I go by it. I think my mom watched it. That was funny. But I hear about it all the time. I just haven't. Is that a Turk or a jerk?
Technically, I think that's a Turk, right? It's a Scale Builders Guild. They just spell everything backwards and...
Oh, okay.
Yes. They're very quirky like that.
I bet it's funny in Canada. What size offset hubs on that truck and what SLW hubs do you run?
This has 350s, and honestly, I run 350s on most things. It's kind of just like my go-to starting place. Unless I need something narrower, or I'm running like a stainless steel brake weight, then I'll drop down to a 225 or something like that. But for the most part, I run 350s on almost everything.
skipping. Now I definitely think this is a Josh imposter. He wants to do body work.
Sorry for that noise. I'm sure it's terrible.
Okay.
Just cleaning up some of the random edges, but just a simple little aluminum panel. I think we pretty much, I need to drill those holes.
Hey Josh, the sheets of aluminum that you use to build panels, are you using sheets from hobby shops or from the hardware store?
Hardware store or metal supply store or McMaster Car. There's a lot of, you can go find local metal supply shops, and usually they'll have scrap bins where if you can find drop pieces of this type of material. I used to go to one in Kansas City called Metal by the Foot, and you'd be able to get this sheet for like $1, which is definitely where this one came from. You usually get charged more when you're buying small quantity from places. So if you can find a local metal supplier and buy end cuts because you don't really care about the shape, you can save a lot of money.
Robert Finney's watching y'all and printing COVID masks.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Thank you. I'm going to put olive oil in my shocks on my TR Explorer. Bad idea.
I mean, if it's all you have, I don't know why specifically you would want to or need to. It seems like you wouldn't know exactly the viscosity, and you could probably benefit from knowing that information. So shock oil is fairly inexpensive, but if you just need something to put in there, then I've done weirder stuff.
I was rebuilding the Proline scalar shocks on my SAX-10 the other day and noticed the fronts were kind of notchy and didn't seem to move freely. Any suggestions?
You might want to check that you didn't bend a shock shaft. That can a lot of times make it feel weird as it's going in. As it's going through that bend section, it'll force the piston in the body against one of the sides. So.
Your mom said if we watch live PD while making gingerbread houses at Thanksgiving, are you in? Yes. Of course, obviously. As long as we don't have to compete with your brother.
Oh, my brother is the most competitive person.
And it's crazy. Like,
we play a lot of board games and do things like
there's
that.
There's certain things we don't play with him anymore.
I'm going to have you mute my audio for a second. Go up, click on that. Yep, up here anyway. And then mine is that one.
Okay. He's muted. Sweet.
You should talk.
I am. I'm looking. Tiger King's coming out with a new episode next week. There we go. Is there somewhere I can source custom links to upgrade the ones that come with the Cross RC?
There is. I mean, there's a number of people on like Facebook who build custom links. There's a RC 4x4 Performance, and then there's I think one called like Hardcore Links.
What do you hate more, building shocks or gluing tires?
I don't glue tires. If I don't, I mean, I guess I don't. Like, there's a very rare occasion where I have to glue tires. And in that occasion, I definitely hate that more. But.
Where do you get your metal for building cages?
If I'm buying tubing, I go to stockcarsteel.com. If I'm doing solid rod, you can find that a lot of places. Local metal suppliers, even like I think Home Depot and those places are carrying that type of thing now. So you just have to kind of look around a bit.
If you use 350 hubs with SSD 1.9s, will that give me a wide wheel width? Mine is 9 inches now.
I have no idea. Everybody's offset can be different. I have no idea on SSD stuff.
What's your preferred shock fluid weight?
It depends on the shock and the weight of the truck, but say like a VS410 Pro, I'll run 60 or 90 weight. With a truck like this, I'll probably, with that big bore shock, probably run a 60 weight as well. if not maybe a little bit thinner, just because of how large a diameter that body is.
Where did you end up with battery placement on that truck?
Battery placement will be right underneath in the front here. With the ESC in the back, I'll be able to put my receiver and everything on one side, and then the battery goes right here. There's some this Velcro strap, and my FPV type packs will just drop right in there, which I guess I put them all away for now, but I'm running 4S packs, which are smaller. They're for FPV quads mainly, 1300 milliamp or so. So that's the panel. I made a couple of holes. Just the shocks and the body mounts will have to go through here. So I just made a spot to make sure that I clearance through those. Then this is a foam sanding block, I don't know exactly what the grit of this one might be, like a 120 grit, somewhere in there. It's a kind of coarse, but not too bad. And I'll just take it and put a little bit of a grain on the aluminum just to make it look a little bit fancier. You might want to mute me for that as well.
Okay. And yes, if I had that in real life, I would. That would be nice. Okay. How do you think the current events will affect the hobby?
You should give your opinion.
My opinion is I think it's actually been really good for the hobby because everyone's at home working on their trucks. So then once we all get out of this, everybody will have amazing, awesome trucks to go out and play with. So I think it's been good. We've all been really busy in the industry, very busy. So that's good. You want me to unmute you? Huh?
You can keep talking.
I have some 50 weight. Do you think the SCX-10 3 shocks would be better with that or the 35?
I don't know that. I think that'll just be something you test, and that'll be a personal preference thing. I don't know that that's going to be a huge thing that will just differ between your taste and mine.
My truck's 11 pounds. What shock oil weight should I use?
11 pounds is big. Depends on how fast you're driving and things there's a lot to choosing that type of thing. There's not just like an answer to it. Depends on how, the bore diameter of your shocks and all that. So I would see if you could cut some weight out of that thing first.
What size tubing solid rod do you use?
3/16 for most things, 1/8 inch for like the smaller diameter bracing and such.
This is awesome. Craig Banks went to a local park to get out today. People paid me to chase their dogs around with my crawler. Had a blast. Made $5. That's awesome.
That is funny.
I love it.
This definitely needs a longer screw.
If I had dogs, if I had children, I'd probably pay people to chase my kids around with.
With RC cars?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the worst business
No.
to be in.
Yeah. I plan on building a pre-runner using an Element Enduro Sendero. Whew. What brushless motor would be a good candidate for speed?
So you're only going to be able to do so much speed just because that's solid axle. You're not going to be able to get crazy speed out of it. So you don't need to go too crazy. Maybe look around a 3,000 to 3,500 kV.
Yeah, people have been ordering parts to rebuild the broken rigs. Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard people using veggie oil for shock oil.
I mean, you can
Probably
use anything.
Thinner than
It was just
olive oil. I don't know what.
shock oil's pretty cheap. Like, just
Well, yeah,
get
but
shock oil.
If you
can't,
do it right away,
I
and
mean,
you don't have it.
yeah, like if you just need something to put in the hole, like, great. But other than that, just get shock oil, and then you can actually know what the viscosity is. And if you want a little bit,
I'm sure that they know.
if they want a little bit more, you want some more dampening, then you can step up 10 weight, each time, or jump up a bunch more.
Nicole needs a raise. I didn't say that one either. It's on here. What is the weight of a stock VS410 Pro?
It's in this. I think it's around 7 pounds with a battery, 7 and change maybe. I don't know the exact weight. I really rarely weigh my truck, so they're just always usually in the same range, so I don't think about it too much.
Are you gonna put a sway bar on this rig?
I don't think so. I think I'll leave it basically as it is. I don't run sway bars on many of my trucks.
Were you gonna go to K&K this year?
I had planned on it. I was gonna try and make it to K&K and Axial Fest Badlands, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen. Well, we don't officially know on Axial Fest Badlands yet, but I don't see that one happening either.
Okay.
And at this point, it's definitely not going to happen for me, just because I can't plan on anything. So
Jason Chilson says you just got home from work. How are y'all doing? How are you doing, babe?
not too good. Rainy day.
I know it's rainy. They said thunderstorms, but they say that in California, and then you get an alert on your phone. It's like lightning struck 13 miles away from you, and we're like, that is not a thunderstorm.
Yeah, we do miss actual thunderstorms.
Yeah. Don't miss the power going out or hail damage or anything like that, but we miss, thunderstorms. That panel already makes that look better.
I always like filler panels.
Jordan Abeg says, sitting here in Afghanistan, got a couple months before I can get home to do some building. Well, we're glad you're watching. And thank you for your service.
Hopefully your internet connection's holding up.
Yeah. And stay safe over there. I did the pen spring mod on my Capra shocks. Better improvement. What kind of LiPo batteries?
I run Gens Ace packs in just about everything now. So let's... I've only done one side, but I'm just going to show you what we've got going on here.
Oof.
Sorry.
Blair Witch Project over here.
Yeah. So now I don't have anything extending to the front, which maybe I'll work on, but the aluminum in there does help, and it'll hide all the wires and all that kind of thing. So
Oh shit, where's my mouse?
click a button and then it'll start. So yeah,
No, it's not moving.
let me see.
Got on Facebook a while ago and saw some guys painted a cow to look like a tiger, and they dressed up like Joe and did a photo shoot with it. Ruh-roh.
Oh, I bet I know what happened though. I bet it's dead.
Probably. What batteries does it use?
It's rechargeable,
Oh. Okay.
but so do you need it right now?
Well, kind of. I'm
Oh.
caught up. Was my question too long? Apparently I skipped somebody. No, I don't know. I just... Sometimes I can't get everyone in.
So
And I have to skip down.
see if that, yay, it works. Now
Your giveaway's going crazy with 16,000 plus entries and growing. Come on, end of the month. Best thing going right now. Aw.
nice. I like that. Looks so much better in there. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Definitely. I can totally tell a difference. And I know exactly what you're doing. The 11-pound guy says, I'm the guy with the Gen 8 Axe 2300 and a driver, just saying hi. Why would you want a sway bar on a crawler?
There is a number of people who like running sway bars on crawlers, and it can help kind of control the control the rear a little bit more, and
Helps with torque twist.
it can help with torque twist if you have a truck with that kind of problem, which usually there's other issues as well.
Watching you and Tiger King at the same time. Why are you watching us?
You are poor at this.
I'm just saying. It's way more interesting watching Tiger King. Our buddy Moose Jaw is here.
What's up,
Hello.
Joe?
I have been working on building my SCX 24 today. Nice to take a break and watch you for a few. You hire an assistant or add wife to the payroll? Neither.
Shh.
Neither.
The benefits are pretty good.
Like I had to look at me to see if I got it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I got it. I
Just don't agree.
didn't think it was funny. I'm kidding. The benefits are fabulous. Okay. On my bomber, I have a fully built Vanquish OCP axles and Mayhem wheels with no added weight. I keep bending the rear Vanquish axle shafts. Any suggestions?
Yes, but I can't tell you for like a week or two. So, but watch out for a week or two.
Okay. I have a challenge to propose to you and Matt and build off of a Beverly Hillbillies theme rock crawler.
Beverly Hills.
It's basically a doodlebug.
Yeah.
What shocks are on that rig?
These are associated shocks.
Can't get enough of those bronze wheels. I do like those bronze wheels.
They do look good. I
They look
agree.
really good. You almost can't see the how good they look in this light.
Yeah. Well, and my camera coloring is.
Yeah, because they actually are a little bit when you know. Modifying the J Concepts Creep body. Why Matt doesn't like it is beyond me.
You know, I kind of like it as well. I know he is not a fan.
When are you getting a Tiger King haircut?
That's one of those ones that you have to work at for a
Yeah.
while. You can't just go get that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't take me as long as most, but
No. As a hairdresser, I've never cut a mullet, and
you ever cut one off?
no, but my cousin who lives in Neosho, Missouri, which is down by Joplin, kind of between the Oklahoma and line, almost to Oklahoma and between Oklahoma and Kansas City. She does have a client. Sherry Freeman has a client that she has cut a mullet on him for years.
Wow.
Yeah, old Ford's
Like
garage
an
is
original mold.
Oh yeah, no, it never went away and came back. Ironically, it just stayed. It just was there. So that's fun. I'd like to see a video on how you set up your Futaba to run 2-speed and dig on the 10.3.
Okay, I can do that. I'll try and do that on the when I update the 10.3. I'm doing all kinds of stuff on that truck here. Yesterday I decided on a lighting system for it. I'm going to do full rock lights and headlights and tail lights and everything. Colored rock lights though. Make sure that it's extra annoying.
Check that out real quick. It's pretty funny. Okay. How can you tell the difference between machine gears and SCX2?
The easiest way is that the non-machined gears in an SCX 10.2, the ring gear and the spool are one piece. There's no screws on the side of the gear. So
Is it hard to get carbon fiber?
Is it hard to get carbon fiber? No, it's not hard, but like with what I'm looking at. I've got a, there's a million like things to learn and choose about carbon fiber, like what twill and what type of resin epoxy to get. And I mean, it's like anything, there's so much information as well that it's really hard to, oh, I know what else I forgot.
Is there anything special you need to put D44 on SDX10
There's a little bit of link adjustment that needs to be done for the pan hard, right back here, just to clear everything. Otherwise, you can't get full suspension travel. So you have to like make a kind of like a custom bend, but you don't have to do that. It'll bolt right in. It's just the link will hit a little bit sooner than you'd like. So.
Thoughts on portal axles on an SDX10 too?
It's fine. I mean, it's going to raise your center of gravity a little, but if you want portals, then.
Your battery's almost done.
Oh, did it stop?
Yeah, but I can turn it back on.
Okay.
Hey Josh, I just finished my Micro Shark conversion. I love it. What are your thoughts on it?
Micro Shark doo. I thought Matt's looked really cool.
What's a Micro Shark?
There's the SCX24.
Oh,
it's like
not something cool that I thought it was.
No.
I thought it was like one of those balloons that.
You mean the helium-powered blimp things?
Yeah, that you can control.
No.
That'd be cool.
It's a tube chassis.
Nope.
Okay.
I
mean, we don't differ that much, but
what
it is cool. I'm not a big fan of 24 scale stuff.
Oh, it's fun.
It's just not something I usually like to do as much.
I wonder if like 5th scale guys talk shit about you guys.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. But our stuff's more popular than theirs. So what now?
I'm not really into that 10th scale.
Right. It's just like full size guys. They're like, oh yeah, I only play with real cars.
Oh, that's not true.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like.
Yeah. What is it about that truck that appeals to you most?
This truck?
I have no idea.
If you're talking about this truck, it's just that it's very similar to one that I had designed in the past and really liked. And the fab work on this one is really good. And I thought there was a number of things on this that I liked, but could also improve on little aesthetic parts and such. So it's my current fascination. And I'll work on it for a while, and then I'm sure I will get bored with it too.
At the park today, I noticed my crawler would do stands in reverse, but not going forward. Is my balance and weight correct?
I wonder if the truck is faster in reverse than forward. If so, you might have your motor in reverse rotation, and your timing might be backwards on the motor. But yeah, usually it's going to be easier to do a wheel stand in reverse than forward, just because you're going to have a forward weight bias. But
those look like buggy shocks from AE.
Correct.
Okay. What tire and compound would you run on the VS410 Pro? Ordered mine, just trying to find some good grippy tires. I'm from the West Coast.
These here are my favorite. These are Proline BFG crawlers in the G8 compound. I like the G8 better than the Predator personally. And I am also on the West Coast. So I think we're probably, granted there's so much terrain out here, it's hard to say if we're running anything similar, but.
Yeah. Build off idea, stick scale trail rig.
Yes. Usually like the actual build offs, we like to do something that's like something that a truck wouldn't normally be, supposed to be doing and things like that.
Thoughts on all metal portal axles on a custom SDX10 build? Did you just?
I answered that.
Okay. What are your feelings about letting other people driving your rig?
I usually don't have any problem with it. I'll give my rig to someone to drive. But I understand people who don't. Like if you're concerned about somebody breaking it or things like that, like.
If you don't go to work and aren't surrounded by a bunch of replacement parts, it's probably not as...
Yeah, some people, if you break a $50 part,
yeah,
that's a really, really, really bad day.
Yeah.
Like, I would, so.
Would brass portal covers for a capper work on SCX 10.3?
Yes. I should mark this side too while I'm at it.
Okay, I'm skipping a little bit. What's worse, a mullet or a rat tail?
Oh, rat
Rat
tail.
tail.
Rat tail for sure.
Yeah. For sure. Josh, ever crawl at Elephant Rocks Park? State Park?
I never did. It's on St. Louis side.
Oh.
I never did. It was always one of those ones that I had planned on, but St. Louis is like just far enough away that it was never like a day trip thing. And when we'd go there, it was either for an event, and they really couldn't have many events there, or
I would never expect for you to put headlights on an RC.
I don't do it a lot. But I guess I did the other day. I put that Mad NGH kit on when we were on here.
Oh, that tappy tap?
Yes, that is a great way to explain it.
That's what you do with it.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
It's a tap light. It's like
You should get a clap now.
a clapper.
Yeah. This rig is so clean. No matter how much I clean mine, it never looks that good as this one. Can you explain how an electric switch you can buy for cheap and plug in works? I don't get how it can act as a switch. How do I go about setting up for this to work? Maybe act to turn on lights.
So basically inside, it's just you have the power coming in from the receiver generally, or a separate source, doesn't really matter. And then the switch inside will have a processor that understands the position of your radio, and it will trip just basically a relay. It's an electronic switch inside, just like your car has all over, or what's even inside of ESCs or things like that. It's not a super complicated thing, and you can buy like a Hey OK, which is a brand out of Canada, or there's multiple other ones.
Where do you get rock lights from?
I got a full kit from mytrickrc.com. So.
What is your favorite tire for 100% performance? I don't live by too many rocks, but I mainly do trail driving.
So I guess like the Hyrax is really good. So, if you're really not caring about style, but granted, I don't feel like the performance is so different between these and the Hyrax, that the crawlers and the Hyrax, that I choose the Hyrax. But
which radio did you say you use? The 4PM or 4PV?
4PV mainly now. My 4PM's up on the shelf here behind me. And then I upgraded to the 4PV, which is a very similar radio, just slightly newer. But I changed to it not too long ago.
This is dead.
Dead? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Matt's here. Hi, Matt. They should just rename it Josh too.
Josh too, yeah. We've been doing a lot of live video, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to watch all this. Oh, I know what I can do.
What's the best way to reduce the weight in my 11-pound truck?
Find out what is adding all the weight. Do you have a bunch of brass on there or what? I need both of those. We're gonna unplug this one for now.
Okay.
So that should get you powered up. But I need to go. We can just skip that one for now.
Okay. Ever thought about doing a mudslinger build?
I've done a few of them, but a number of them really, I guess. What was my last one? Can't even remember the last one I did. But I've done a few. I've done them on different platforms and.
Michael Kubitka. Dang, you're saying there was a good chance I could have driven your truck at K&K. Damn.
Sure.
Now you're never going to be able to drive your truck again. You need a Joe Exotic scale figure.
RC 4-wheel drive put one up as like a April Fool's. They made it look like it was in the package, the whole deal. It was a Photoshop, but it was a really good job.
I'm sure that they were like,
how can we capitalize?
Well, I'm sure that they were like, and got so many.
Yeah, like actual requests for it. Shit. I guess we'll make it.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you plan on using servo winch on that rig?
No, I do not plan on it. I don't run winches on most trucks. You want to mute me?
I don't.
There you go.
So how could I use one of these electric switches to control servo winch, for example?
So you don't, for a servo winch, you need a servo winch controller usually, because that is basically like one of those switches, but it's either multiple positions, so it's got a forward and a reverse, or it's proportional, so you can have like half speed, full speed, or completely proportional ramping. So that if you're doing a winch, you need a winch controller, not just a switch, because if you just have a switch, it'll only go one direction.
Okay.
Mute me.
Wait. Oh.
That you're not.
Oh,
using
it's
it.
up already. Sorry. I heard they were turning off the modem for Canada's internet connection. Matt must be on a BlackBerry. You mean we don't have to watch? Damn, I thought it was illegal to turn off. Let's see, where am I at? Would your wife kill you if you built a crawler course in your backyard? No, I wouldn't. I don't.
It'd probably just mean I was actually landscaping, but that makes that very improbable.
Yeah, but we also don't own this house, so probably
Right.
not. He just goes to other people's backyards who have them.
Or I just go out into the mountains.
Yeah,
Our
no.
terrain here is so awesome
Yeah,
that it's
it
not
is.
really like a concern of mine about
No.
having a place at home.
We had the best yard ever back in Kansas City, but he also didn't want to mow around a bunch of rock.
Yeah, exactly.
You may not expect us to watch all of this, but a lot of us do because we love you and the content that you put out makes us smile. We thank you for this. Oh, that was sweet. Okay, back to the 11-pound truck. I have all metal upgrades on my 11-pound truck. My axles weigh over 1 pound each.
Yeah, you're gonna have some weight, but seems like there's a lot of extra weight there somewhere still. Maybe a lot of brass that. I don't think I have anything that weighs 11 pounds.
Just
Just
your
for-
head. Your big head.
The human head weighs 8 pounds.
So yours is probably
Yeah.
really slow.
Don't mute me.
There you go. Bucks RC World said I totally signed up for it, and they sent me a 25% off coupon for the April Fool's joke. I love it. What? I'll go back, but 3 new feet of snow today in Donner. Damn, that's crazy. Okay, trying to fill my shocks with from the TRX4 builder kit. Any suggestions where the diaphragm stay submerged, but the piston doesn't push out?
I don't 100% understand what you're saying there, but you have to make sure that there's room in the shock body for the shock fluid that when you compress the shock shaft. So there's not those bladders that come in those shocks help, but there's definitely not enough airspace in the bladder that you can fill the shock. So you still have to offset that by underfilling the shock slightly. There's no other way around it. There's not enough compensation in the shock bladder to handle it.
You should get the spring-loaded style starting punch. I think it helps more with accuracy and with smaller work.
I do. I guess I've always bought the cheap, shitty ones, and then they end up failing on me. So, like where they won't actually spring load. So that's why I go with like the tried and true, center one. But I should probably buy a nice auto punch.
How many scale points for a tiger? My friend gave me a brass front bumper mount for my SCX-10 II. What do? He is new to RC and I don't want to be mean.
Wow. It's a real Sophie's choice. Huh. Well, how much do you like him? Like, how good of friends are you?
Can you paint it? Why don't you
Well-
like brass? What's the issue
well,
with
it's-
brass? I don't understand.
It's adding unnecessary weight, and putting brass on the chassis especially is just weight where you don't want it. And it's just not a... Brass bumper mounts are like the epitome of things that I would never suggest.
Just tell him that you wanted to keep it for a really special car. You want to keep it off and keep it nice for a really special car that you never get. What are your plans on the Scale Nationals build? Do you plan on updating them?
So I'm going to sell the Class 3 chassis. And then I was kind of... I don't know, really. I contemplated selling the Class 1 today. I don't know why. I just thought about it.
Do it.
I don't know. I'm very torn on what I want to do. And mad about the whole thing.
I'm always taking bids, but only cash and only talk to me. The other night you mentioned you vent your tires. Do you prefer vented wheels or venting the tires?
I only vent tires. The reason I don't vent wheels is because a lot of times, like a good tire foam, like a Crawler Innovations, a closed cell inner, will not flow air through. So if you vent your wheel, it won't necessarily have any effect because the foam can completely smother any airflow. So I always vent the tires. And, it's a $20 set of tires rather than a $120 set of wheels. So.
Oh yeah, just paint a plastic one. Say you painted the brass one.
Good
call, Milo. Okay. Do you run LiPo 2S in transmitter or throwaways? Which lasts longer for you?
I run life packs, not lipo. So life packs is lithium iron. Fe is the periodic table for iron. These they're lower voltage than a lipo, which is more of what most radios are built for. They're not built for a lipo battery. And these, if you run them dead, they're not volatile like a lipo. So these won't, catch fire or anything like that. So they're just a safer option for something that doesn't have a low voltage cutoff as well. This is a 2100 milliamp Protect pack, and this thing's great. They last forever. So that's what I run.
Should I get a Wraith 1.9 now or wait a month and get an SCX-10 III? I already have a few SCX-10 IIs. A few? How many do you need?
More?
No.
Ooh. I mean, you already have some trucks. So you don't necessarily have to be in a hurry, I guess. But there's no better time than always for a new RC car. So I would get the Wraith 1.9 now, and then wait just a few more months and get an SCX-10 III also. Wow, I bet those birds are really loud.
Oh, yeah, he is. Is that blue one?
It could be. He's an ass.
No, he's not a blue jay.
He's still an asshole.
Just because he's being loud, being a bird outside.
Yes. All of those
That's
things.
his life. Okay. I don't know where I'm at.
It's okay.
I'm only brassing my front portals on the 11-pound truck. I do have a homemade back cage.
Well, that can be a big difference when you start adding cage work, so.
Your shock answered his concerns. What's a good tool set? I have 2 sets of dynamite tools and they wear out easily.
I basically only use my Vanquish drivers until I need a ball end, and then I use my Traxxas. Or I use the Traxxas ones in my power driver. So, the Traxxas set that I use is like their Pro set, which has all of the tips with a 1/4-inch driver. They've got like a cheap set that's very similar to one of the Dynamite ones, and a bunch of people rebrand it. I don't suggest that one as much, but their 1/4-inch drive set comes in this little canvas bag thing. It fits in there. It's got all the 1.5, 2 mil. There's two 2 mils, one's straight, one's a ball end. 2 2.5s, straight ball end. 3.0, same, and then the nut drivers. I think this set, and it comes with a handle. I think this set's like $120. The Vanquish set is less, but I can't remember off the top of my head the price.
Yeah, it has fast eddy bearings in it.
It does have fast eddy bearings in it. There's a bearing in the cap, so like when you've got it in your palm, it spins. It's actually very comfortable, especially if you build a lot, you don't get that like sore spot on your palm.
Callus.
No, or even like a blister. Like, some of us are pretty serious about how much we build.
Oh, you're like one of those weightlifters.
Right. Yeah, chalk up.
You're the CrossFit of RC. You're cool.
Yeah.
Is your Class 3 chassis still for sale? Do you have a body for it? Does it use SCX in 2 parts?
It is still for sale. The body would just stay the one that's on there. And SCX10 2 parts would basically bolt on. It's just a VS410 chassis. Well, I guess it's made for a VFD skid. You could put a regular skid in it though and run a typical 3-gear trans. And then SCX10 2 stuff would work fine.
Okay. Josh, have you ever watched B is for Build? He made 1-to-1 carbon fiber panels for the first time. It might be a good watch.
Yeah, I like BS for Build. I found him on Tavarish's channel initially. I like watching his, and then I've said it before, Mike Patey, who builds aircraft stuff.
Okay. Built my bomber the same way as your budget build. Any other upgrades you would suggest?
The budget build kind of just gives you a nice base, and then from there it kind of depends on like what you find yourself breaking or wearing out or bending, things along those lines. Like that's the.
If you had to suggest something, what would it be?
Next, I know it's just like
your vague fucking answers. They want their questions answered.
Aluminum housings, V2 axle housings. There you go. Mute me.
Gladly. Wait. Okay, I got it. Okay. Wait. Just kidding. Okay. Hey, what's up? I think I'm so far behind. So. There we go. I am behind, so I'm gonna come down. Somebody wants to know where your cross RC truck is. He set it on fire.
Behind me. It's on the floor behind me. I forgot to add the holes for the ESC mount, so I had to take it back out and add those.
Oh, people didn't realize that your tools had bearings on them, and they want to buy them now.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
See how easy they spin.
Said May 15.5. 5.11.4. I don't really care.
It's actually much larger. It's 6 by 15 by 5.
Oh yeah, you put the 6.15.5.
Yeah, we upgraded to a larger bearing.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Remember? Because we were using 815s, and then we went to the 615.
Because we ordered them specifically for you.
Yeah.
How long do you think until someone comes out with a brass cantilever kit?
I put nothing past anybody. It will happen, and I'm sure the day will be sooner than needed.
You're working in a nice class too. Just add a winch, ... and a doll. Was that? Are you not supposed to say doll?
I say doll, and
Oh.
people say they're action figures or.
Oh, Lord.
See, this is why I don't.
Josh, can you recommend a custom fabricator for a custom VS 410 Pro bumper and a roll bar for the rear?
That. Oh, actually, I can. Recently, there is a guy who has popped up on Facebook and Instagram, and the name is Max, it's Maks, Max Daddy Custom Parts.
Sure, it's not M-A-C-K?
No, it's just MAK.
M-A-K?
Maks Daddy Custom Parts. He is currently off of work because of the reason that everyone's currently off of work. And he's, I think he's got some availability to get some jobs done. But he is the person I sold my Crawlmasters build, the Willies, to. He commissioned him to make him 2 replicas of it. So he will have 3 of that truck.
The guy who, what?
So remember the guy sent us all the cheese?
Yes.
And that's who bought the truck.
Right, okay.
And then he
it's
commissioned Max
Gotcha.
to make him 2 more copies.
Oh, nice.
But anyway.
Shout out to the guy who sent us a bunch of cheese. That was awesome.
Yes. But we don't do that now because we're not eating dairy.
Yeah, I know, but what about those?
And it gave us massive headaches because it has tannins
Yeah,
in it.
but it was worth it.
But I mean, we kept eating it because we're special, and it was delicious.
It was so good. But what about those beef sticks?
Those were good too.
Yeah. They probably have preservatives.
Yeah.
Only good stuff does. I only have a few more than I need. What's your favorite tool to use?
My favorite tool?
Did we already talk about that?
We talked about tools, but I think we did.
Okay.
I think we're looking good on this panel already.
All right. I have been watching your content for a little over a year. You have inspired a couple of my trucks. Just wanted to say thank you for what you do and keep doing it. Thank you, Jack Rock.
Damn it.
Love the Vanquish tools. 10 times better than MIP and IMO.
I drilled the wrong holes. Shit. See, this.
How are you possibly going to blame this on me? Let's see. I'm so anxious. Wait. Everybody get ready. Let's see how
this
he's
is
going
what
to possibly blame this on me.
This is what happens when I'm not paying attention to live video instead. God damn it. All right, we got. Damn it. I don't even remember how I got this stupid thing in here.
Okay, I'm behind again.
Well, this is tricky. How did I take this out? Rewind the video.
Yeah.
I took it out of here without...
What size rod is that cage made of?
3/16 on the main hoops, and then 1/8 inch on the smaller stuff, the detail.
Vanquish ifs conversation?
Oh, IFS, Vanquish IFS.
Oh.
No, probably, and it probably means conversion. IFS conversion.
Okay. If you had a $1,300 budget, which Vanquish VS10 truck and what electronics would you choose? I want to build another tube chassis rig out of it.
I would do the Pro personally, and then I would do a Holmes Polar Pro V2 2700, a either a Tekin RX4 or a Mamba X, depending on what you can find time-wise, in stock. And then a Futaba S9177 servo. There you go.
Okay. I promise you, Barrett, our life is not cooler than yours. Just it looks that way on the internet. What's your thoughts on the HPI Venture SBK?
Sorry. I didn't do it wrong.
Oh.
I just had it upside down. I'm special.
Yes.
Wow. What was that one? Venture SBK? Would probably be not the one I would suggest. The Venture is I don't have high hopes for the future of HPI in general. I don't think that truck's ever going to see aftermarket support. And I think that there's a lot of things about it that were just behind the times by the time it got released. So I think your money would be much better spent elsewhere.
Okay. Travis Gilmore says, I stand by the Beanie Baby driver option. One of the small McDonald's ones you were talking about. Mom probably still has some. Actually, just kidding. My mom doesn't keep anything. She throws all of our shit away. She's like, you and your brother better get over here and get this shed cleaned out or all your shit's going in the trash. Like, what about our baby, books? And she's like, I don't care. I want it. I'll take pictures of it.
Which she probably didn't do.
No. Hell no. She used to make us do that with our artwork, and we'd bring the artwork home. She'd be like, oh, awesome, and take a picture of it and then throw it away. Oh, sentimental woman. Cody Arnold has to go drive a dump truck tomorrow.
I mean,
So he has to go to bed.
it sounds like more fun than my day's going to be.
Yeah, you're going to have to be throwing stickers like they're like
we're
gonna rain with stickers.
Yeah. Place an order at Vanquish. I'll send you stickers.
Yeah. Milo is pretty funny. The cheese would fix the TV situation.
Oh. Like, I don't get. I get it.
If you want cheese, I'm right next to Wisconsin. I can send you some.
This was Wisconsin cheese.
Thank you for the offer. We do love Wisconsin cheese, but we are off of cheese right now.
No dairy for us. I keep losing weight.
Yeah.
I think it was all the cheese and dairy.
I think it was just all the shit you were eating.
Yeah, it was probably all the sugar.
Yeah.
I eat like a kindergartner with $20. Just.
Yeah. At the dollar store.
Yeah. Oh.
Is that all it took to get that truck cheese and beef sticks? I would have at least put some chicken wings in it.
Oh.
Moose jaw.
Oh. That's. Joe knows my weakness for wings.
Yep.
I had some wings yesterday. They weren't good.
He doesn't get them from home.
No.
I don't make chicken wings. I hate when my house smells like deep fryer.
I easily took this ESC out the front of this car, and somehow I have to completely disassemble the entire truck to get it back in. No idea how that's possible.
Aloha from Honolulu.
Hey.
Hey, we really, that's on my list. We are going to come see you soon. And whoever...
Oh, that's the guys from Ohana RC?
Ohana RC,
yeah.
And they bring the macadamia nuts.
Yes.
Covered in chocolate. And the first thing he asks whenever he gets home from, like, the convention, like, where they go sell all their stuff, or to the dealers, I'm always like, were the Hawaiian guys there? Because...
Eric Yoshimura is his name.
I'm going to need those chocolate macadamia nuts out of your bag right now.
Yes.
Eddie went to London, I was like, he's like, oh, do you want any of this stuff that I brought, this swag that I brought home? I was like, you got any of those chocolate macadamia? He's like, no, I ate them all. Like, no, I don't want it. I have got 6,000 lanyards that say RC four-wheel drive on them in, like, pop sockets. And I'm like, no.
No. Give me the...
chocolate. Thinking of selling one of my rigs to buy a set of VP axle housings, 10-2 width, not portal. What are the pros of each style? 4.4, F9, rock jocks, etc.
It is only about style, with the one exception is that we do make a servo on axle mount for the F9. So if you have like a custom build that is going to require a servo on axle, then it's your choice. So that was why we did that with the portals, the F9 style as well. I mean, granted, it's more appropriate anyway, I think, but also being able to chassis do an axle mounted servo for custom builds is nice.
With all the extra parts you have, how many rigs could you build? 6,000.
I'm sure a handful.
People love their Venture. Just
Oh, I'm not saying it was.
great truck that got hurt by circumstances around it.
Yeah.
Why do you go by Harley?
When I initially was getting on the internet forums of the day, I rode a Harley, and my username was Harley0706. And then everything else in life happened, and days on the forum at the time, that just is what.
It's stuck.
Yeah. Because you'd go to like an event, you'd be like, "Hi, I'm Harley from RCC," like, and that's just how.
Yeah, it just.
And then people would just think that's your name.
At least you weren't Hayabusa.
Yeah, because shortly after I created that name and everything, I had sold my Harley and got a Hayabusa. So, yeah, Hayabusa design sounds way more difficult and much less believable.
Yeah. Oh, somebody already answered for you. I'm so far behind. Josh, where do you come across most of your Flip My Trucks? That's a good question.
So, a few different things. One is I will just go through the for sale sections on rccrawler.com, which you have to be a member and be on there for 30 days and have 30 posts, so you can't just get in there. Then the listings on like the Facebook groups, which rarely have great options. But I think the best way has been just find a truck that someone has built and just offer them. Like, can I buy your truck? Even if it's not for sale. And lots of times people will make a hasty decision. So.
Yeah. Have you driven the SCX 10.3 yet?
Nope, I have not yet. My body will be done before too long. Then I'll have the wiring and LEDs and all that to finish up, and we'll get there. But not yet.
Do you like Vanquish rigid light bars?
Yeah, I don't run light bars on a lot of trucks in general, but if I do run them, that's the ones that I choose to run. I like the aluminum style and the fact that it's actually extruded like a real one. But I don't run a lot of light bars usually.
There's a big conversation about chicken wings, bone in, bone out.
Oh, bone in.
Obviously.
Yeah. Bone out is not a chicken wing. That is a nugget.
Adriana Marie says, do you think boneless wings are just chicken nuggets? Is that what you just said?
That's exactly what I just said.
Sorry, I was not listening to you. You took away some clearance with the panels, and you added more material when you put the panels in.
Well, it was partially, it probably was that, but I mean, it was just 025, so it could have been. But everything fit back in there once I did it. What I did forget is that I needed to add clearance for my pressed metal panels to fit back in. So it all comes apart again.
Okay. Apparently my voice sounded better when I got close and said 6,000.
Oh.
I'm trying to reach because our mouse is dead, and so it's charging, so I can't be as close to the mic. I'm sorry. But thank you, SD. I appreciate it. Do you have the TRX4 with the long arm lift?
I had it and I sold it. It lives in Florida, where all mud trucks go to die, or are born, one or the other.
Or go to live.
Yeah, live yes.
Their best life.
Yeah, living their best life.
Yeah. What are the pros and cons about rear steer?
It can be difficult to learn how to properly use, and it takes a strong servo to properly have a rear steer set up, because all that weight on your rear, it will want to fall over all the time. So you need a strong servo. I mean, you can do it with anything, but it's just not going to be you're not going to have a good time. I wouldn't run rear steer on a car over 7 or 8 pounds without a 500 plus ounce-inch servo.
Did you get pros and cons?
Sure. I mean, it's pros, I guess, is that it's very capable. It adds a ton of, performance to your truck.
There you go. Are those 2.2s or XL tires on 1.9? Sorry, way late to the game. That's okay.
These are just a 1.9, 4.75 inch tall, 1.9. But being that this is kind of like a pinched buggy and all that, they might look a little bit larger, but I think it still looks pretty appropriate for the vehicle.
Somebody said Boosa boy.
Yeah.
I like it. You should do a spare parts build with mostly used stuff. Stuff. I'm hungry.
I could, but I think it would be disheartening at the same time.
Why?
Because a lot of it is, nearly new or very not like, it wouldn't be very relatable. Like,
You don't have a bunch of spare shit sitting around here?
I do, but it's all like very nice. Like I've got a used, like I don't have like used stock parts very much.
Maybe that's not what he's talking about. Maybe he's just talking about putting...
I'm just saying it would look like a lot of my other trucks, and then people would be
our-
like, well, this isn't what my spare parts stuff looks like at all. You're a dick.
Oh, I mean, that is true. That you're a dick. I'm kidding. Will you be getting a hard body JL for your SCX 10.3?
No.
Keyword right now.
I mean, usually, most trucks make it for sale one day.
They're all for sale.
This one, just no plans initially.
Who was it that used to do the custom inserts for your rigid bars? Do they still do them?
That was Moore LLC, and he does not do them anymore. He doesn't do RC at all anymore. That was Sarge.
Oh, RC, Sarge didn't do RC anymore?
Entire interior to do it.
Okay. Trailfinder 2 or no?
I mean, if you want a hard body like that, why not? Why not?
Is that one you got? What did you get? I thought it was neat looking.
Yeah, it's not bad. I don't like that one as much. I need to sell that.
Yes. We need to see another SMT 10 build, then you can show rear steer how to. I started using a slow cooker to make my chicken wings 8 hours on low. Falls off the bone,
Ooh.
but it does.
You should do that.
Nope.
You should Instapot them.
Instapot is not the same as slow cooker.
Yeah, but maybe you should try.
No, I just don't do chicken wings. I don't like the smell of them. Let's see. I get the same abuse. Josh, stay strong, my brother. I saw someone was raffling off their Ripper for around 6,000 USD. What do you think about that price?
That's pretty normal price just for sale. Most of them usually get listed around $6,000. So that's not. If it was going to be a raffle, I'm surprised it's not a lot more.
Somebody said they picked up the Ripper for 3,500.
Got a steal.
Nice.
Who was it? Justin? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rippers right now are usually going between 5 and 6.
Did you make your carnivore chassis?
Nope, that's a UC Fab.
No, he does good.
And that one is currently at UC Fab right now. So that's why it's not in here. Normally, otherwise, it just doesn't leave.
Is that just my screen that's stuttering? I hope so. Sell your dancing rider? Question mark.
I mean, sure. It's stock, though. So I'll sell it to you and then just build another. I need more things to do on live builds, so.
Let's do a live build of him taking out the trash on the lawn.
My mic doesn't reach out there, so.
Oh, okay.
You can just narrate. How about that?
Get you a wireless one. Has a file for the VS410 inner fender stamps been hosted?
I believe so. Yes. Yes, they have been. They're on my Thingiverse. Just search Harley Designs Thingiverse.
Oh, air fryer chicken. I don't have an air fryer. We have limited counter space in this house, so I gotta stay with the Instant Pot. I haven't tried the air fryer yet. Billy Max says, I love how you and Cole can do this a few nights a week and still be nice to each other. We can. 3 hours east of Phoenix. Where's the kitty coming from?
Somewhere that route. Still in Arizona, but.
Phoenix, do you know where Vernon is?
Yeah, Vernon. That's right.
Vernon, Arizona. That's where our new baby's coming. I need ideas for my next build. I have some ideas, but what platform would you use?
I mean, SCX3 is, I mean, why not? Good one. Depends on your budget. Otherwise, VS4 Pro would be my preference almost always.
Sean, I agree. I would also throat punch him if he spent $6K on RC. And yes, I do use Frank's for buffalo sauce. And if you break a part on the Ripper, how can you get replacement parts for it?
I've never had anybody break one. But for the most part, there hasn't been replacement parts. It's just not one of those things like it's really been done. I mean, if it's something simple like the rear number tags or a roof panel, like it's all a thing. But other than that, we just haven't had things break, so we don't really offer replacements. Otherwise, we'd have people trying to like piece one together, trying to buy all the things, and we're not trying to make more. It's a $6,000 car. Don't drive it too hard.
What's the fun on that?
No, I'm just saying.
How many Rippers left to be built? 0. I think it's interesting to fit the VFD transmission on the Ripper.
Being that it's an SCX-10-2 chassis, I don't think that's probably in the cards to do. At least not easily or ideally.
I hear there are issues with putting Proline tires on Vanquish wheels. What is the issue?
It's mainly on like the older Proline tires. They were just like the TSL. They had just a too fat of an inner bead, and Proline I think addressed that later in the years. So there's not really many issues. It's just on some of the older tires.
Any plans on upgrades for your SCX-10-3?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a list of plans yet, but we'll be working on parts at VP. And
What is a Ripper?
it's that I guess you can't. It's on the very top. You still can't see it. Sorry. But basically, it was a project that started as kind of just a flex. What do you call it? Right? We were just like all of the things that we could do with machining. We took huge blocks of aluminum and machined out very thin panels, and machined an entire tube chassis. And in the end, we took 100 pounds of aluminum to make like a 2 or 3 pound chassis, a truck chassis, basically the whole thing, that bolts onto an SCX-10-2 frame. And it was done that way because it was done for Axial Fest. So, but like the body panels are all shaped, but they're all milled. Like the hood started as a 9-pound block and comes out to like 2 ounces. So
It's fancy.
it's fancy.
The air fryer's a shit. I have the same issue with counter space. I did hear, we're going to narrow our audience, our target audience for a second. Okay. I did hear that they were coming out with a air frying lid for the Instant Pot.
I see.
Yeah, so we may be getting into that pretty quick.
You start doing mods to your Instant Pot.
Maybe I can have Neil do a wrap for it.
Hop ups, yeah.
Looking for a super long-lasting battery. What would you suggest? Granted, I have locking and unlocking differentials and a 2-speed transmission.
I mean, those things don't really use up much power, so it's not going to affect you that much, but depends on how you can get like 6,500 milliamp 3S packs. I would usually look at like a 3S because you're going to have more watt hours in that. I mean, if you want more runtime than that, like I said, that little 2-speed locking diff, that doesn't matter. It doesn't really do anything as far as power consumption, or very little at that. So you can get it 6,500 milliamp or something huge, but I would rather just have like a 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp and just change them every once in a while so you don't add too much weight to your rig. And then you're going to get 2-3 hours worth of runtime anyway, at least.
This Draw said he's just going to do it and save for a VS410 Pro. Vernon is about 200 miles northeast of here. Okay, that's where our new baby's coming from. TRX4 SCX103. Wait, how long does it take to drive to Phoenix from here?
I don't know that off the top of my head. Quite a while, but
yeah.
TRX4. For me, I think like I would lean towards an SCX103 just because of the scale appearance, the body. I think the axles look better. Things along those lines. I think that's more along the style that I like. Okay, why is this not lining up?
I don't know.
But it's all just, I think that the TRX4 is probably going to be more durable out of the box. So.
What's the truck above the truck on your display? The truck above the truck?
They're kind of all trucks. What do you mean?
I know, I just thought that was fun.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick a number.
There is not a Ripper 2.0 in the works because
No.
of what he just explained.
No.
What trucks are allowed in Axial Fest?
Axial
trucks.
Axial-based trucks.
Yeah.
Don't bring a Traxxas. Don't bring a Vatera. Don't bring a Vanquish. It is Axial Fest.
You'll get booted.
Bring.
Do people really get booted?
I mean, people still bring other trucks and they think it's funny, but just don't be a dick. The company is making an event for appreciation of its customers. Like,
I kind of think it's funny. Just kidding.
people just being dicks.
Uh-huh. Best place to get a custom cage made, preferably on a bomber style chassis.
Like there's a lot of people who make really nice cages and do really nice work, like UC Fab and stuff like that. But you can't like suggest that because a lot of the guys who are really good are basically they're not looking for work. They've got plenty of work. They don't have availability. You're going to be 3 years out if they're welcome even to the thought. So
That was not helpful.
no, I know. Like, there's not somebody you can just say, here you go to this person and get them done. Like, that's the problem.
Try and find one, maybe?
Like, it's really hard to do. There was the sliding door again.
Yeah. But try and find one from
Like,
somebody selling one that they used.
it's a possibility. Like, UC Fab cages will go for like $2,500, $3,000, just the cage.
He does good work.
He does.
How much was the Ripper directly from Vanquish?
$18.99.
Okay. Would the SCX102 chassis kit make a good base to build a 2.2 TTC or 1.9 TTC?
Yeah, it would be a good. I mean, it's a very, one of the most popular chassis ever made. So definitely plenty of options, or plenty of parts and all of that.
Okay. Hello, Nicole and Josh. Finally made it to my lunch break and get to join in. Have you ever run a Trailmaster Pro brushless?
I did, and like when they first came out, I did, and I didn't. I liked it, but I had been running Tekin Pro 4s before that, so I had already been running mainly 4-pole brushless motors, and I still prefer that. So the Trailmaster is a 2-pole brushless, and it's just not something I like as much. So I try and stay with 4-pole brushless motors.
Okay. What is the wheelbase of that truck, Mr. Josh? It's Sir Josh.
It's what?
Remember?
Yes.
I think
I thought you were trying to tell someone to say that to me.
No, I'm just saying that
Stop
the
it.
one guy called you Sir Josh. I think it's the
This is just a
cutest thing
standard
ever.
like 12.3 truck. It's a standard incision link set on it. So nothing special at all as far as that goes. All right. So we finally have the inner fender. Whoops. Inner fenders in. The top press metal panel. I like it. Feel like it still needs those lower panels though.
People just saw the live on air sign and like it.
Oh yeah,
Mama sent him that.
I just got it. My mom sent it.
Do you have any portable LiPo chargers?
No, I don't. I thought about picking up one of the ISDTs, and I'll probably do that once leaving the house is a thing again. But at this point, I don't. I've used my coworker Brandon's, and he's got one of the little ISDTs where you plug like a 3-cell into it, and large one, and you can charge the other batteries, and so that will be the route that I go when I eventually decide to pick something like that up. Oop. It was all organized and put the screws in the dash and then threw them on the ground. Where'd it go? Where'd it?
Oh, can you help? Sorry.
I got it.
I was looking at DoorDash.
Oh my God.
I'm hungry.
Are we going to eat out tonight?
No. Okay.
I could go for pho.
No.
Could we? Let's do that.
There's not one around here.
There isn't?
Mm-mm.
Can I go pick up?
Nope.
Why? Because you don't want it?
Yeah, pretty much.
You should find something you want next to one of those.
That sliding door is loud.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we know.
And before I knew what it was almost terrifying.
Is there a possibility I lost it? Sorry.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Something about an injection molded version of the Ripper.
Oh. It's just, I mean, that's all, like, that's always a possibility of something, but it's just very expensive, and it's not something that, like, that needs to be on a whole vehicle thing, not just like an aftermarket. Molds are very expensive.
Did you ever buy an axial Capra?
Yeah. I did right at the beginning, and did a handful of videos on it as well. I didn't have any running videos of it, but
What's a clicky noise coming from the SCX10s in people's running videos I've viewed?
I'll have to see. I don't actually know what. I've heard that comment a few times. I just don't know. I haven't experienced it myself, and I don't know the answer.
What are the fans in the back of that truck for, and why do similar trucks have those?
It is to simulate where a rear-mounted radiator would be. On some custom buggies and race trucks, you would find a rear-mounted radiator or things like that, depending on how minimalistic. They're trying to get the front end. On crawlers like this, sometimes they'd keep the front end as short as possible for best approach angle. So they'd take the radiator, which normally needs to go in the front, I'll move it to the back.
Does it cool as well?
Well, I mean, crawlers aren't usually going fast enough to get a bunch of air over it anyway.
Gotcha.
So you just put good electric fans on them and hope that does the trick.
Hello all. I'm trying to get my son a rock crawler. I was looking into the Element Enduro Sendero. Is it a decent crawler?
Absolutely. It's a good starter. Should have hooked up my drive shafts before I screwed the transmission in. Now I'm going to take it all back out. Yeah, the Element's a great rig. Great starter rig. It's good for the price. It's got some features in it that are...
Where can I find a ripper? Don't they have a Facebook group?
Yeah, but it's private. You have to own a ripper to be in it. It's a club.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry. Other than that, they usually pop up on like the Vanquish Products fan page Facebook group.
Oh, there you go.
But not always. You got to kind of get lucky at the same time.
I'm trying to get my girlfriend to go on vacation the same time as Axial Fest, but she's too smart and catches on very fast and shoots me down knowing that we will spend our whole time there. Yeah.
No, that's...
My life is spent on vacations that are supposed to be vacations, and then they are not. So, I get it. Well, what's going on with that truck with no rear end and no tires on it?
That is my original VS410 Pro, and I swear to God, some of these things go together or come apart so easy, and then putting them back together the same way is a pain in the ass. Anyway, that's my original VS410 Pro, and frustration. It had the portal rear axle in it. I did that modification, and it was a unplated portal, while the front is a regular, straight axle plated version. So I took the unplated portal and I put it into the Class 2 build because it had an unplated front axle. So just to match it, and then I'll put a complete plated rear axle into that one again. Just one of those things that I have to get to. All right.
Somebody made an Instagram post about you.
What's it say? Does it say I'm a dick?
No, I don't know. I can't tell what.
Let's see. What is this?
Go look at J-Ho Instagram about you.
Oh.
What?
Forget it.
Oh. Is he mean?
Yeah, he's just I don't care. There's a lot of that.
Oh, don't be mean.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Can you explain the difference between 2-pole and 4-pole brushless motor, please?
It's the I would be, for a very accurate description, I'm probably not the best. It's the configuration of the windings and the magnets in the stator and rotor. And I would be better at describing brushed. So 4-pole generally has more torque. But for like the real differences, I don't have that kind of knowledge to explain it well. I think Holmes Hobbies has a video on it, and John would be able to go full nerd for you. So he is my resource where I learn things. So anyway, what do you got?
Oh, nothing. I'm just trying to find where this guy lives.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I don't like it. I don't like that.
That's
really?
all he does.
Huh?
Just all he does. It's whatever.
Really like your aluminum inner fenders. Thank you for showing us the process for those.
Yeah.
What tires are on this rig?
Proline crawlers.
Let's see.
All right. We got everything back in. Did we get everything phased? Nope. Front. I didn't get my drive shafts phased, but I 100% guarantee that this transmission will be out multiple times before I drive it. So I'm not going to worry about that.
Let's see. Is there stuff at Axial Fest for my girlfriend to enjoy? No.
I mean, there's hiking and things like that you could go at. But
If you really like hiking, like in these beautiful, serene places, and all of a sudden you're like, and then, like, yeah, no. Or some stupid joke about boobs. You hear a lot of that. That's fun. So no, there's not.
I mean,
Josh,
I don't
what-
have a counter argument, but
Yeah. What are you doing? The Ripper Group is like Fight Club. Why are you talking about it?
right.
My Capra had a clicking sound when I pulled the trans. Think it was the dig making the sound.
Could have been anything that has that, shifting or moving parts like that. That's going to be your best chance of having extra noises.
Watching Josh put stuff together and pull it apart and put it back together make me feel better about how many times I do the same thing.
Yep.
Where's the new Flip That Truck?
It's in a box behind me, but I don't want to show it until it's actually in the series.
What solder do you use for your XT60s?
Whew. I think it's just standard rosin core 6040. I can't remember the diameter I use though. I've got some large diameter, some small diameter.
Are you going to get a body professionally painted for your Sporty?
Oh, I should. I need to get it finished and done. There's a few more parts that I need to get ordered for that, and I just haven't done it. And
Okay. Tanner Smith, that's okay. I just get protective. Is there a way to make a roll cage without welding?
without what I mean, other than like silver soldering, which technically isn't welding, or I guess maybe it kind of is by definition, but I don't know. Not a way that I would like actually suggest. Not for you can do like a roll cage inside of a body that's not actually going to see any impacts. You can do that with like brass and just actual solder. But to do it in like an actual way, like anything like you see here, no, you just have to. But you can learn it. It's not that scary, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can do it with a regular MAP gas torch from Home Depot, $50-$60 for that, and get yourself some $30 roll of silver solder, and that's all you need. It doesn't take a lot.
And soldering, that comes in handy. Don't you solder wires and stuff?
Oh yeah, it feels very familiar to soldering wires and things like that. It doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Should I get a 3D printer? I don't know how to design stuff, so I would basically only be printing stuff that is on Thingiverse.
So you should learn how to design too. Like that is a caveat there. There's probably enough things to make it usable to you at first, and then maybe that would make you feel like you want to put in the effort to learn even just some basic stuff. Like, it's one of the most powerful tools you can get for $200 or $300. So I highly recommend it. Getting one, learning how to use it, printing things that are available, and then start jumping in to learn how to design. It'll be something that you'll use all over in life in general. Like, it can be extremely handy.
Like I said, math was in school.
Math is insanely handy, especially geometry.
I failed geometry. My God, man, you look like you're about to throw that truck. Like I said, I'm way behind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was probably when I did my fish clench. So, but we're looking good now.
Okay. Still going?
Still what?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant we're done.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I mean, I could still build the lower panels. There's all kinds of
I
options.
didn't know Donner Ski Ranch had a bar. I guess I've never been to the one in Donner. I only have been to
Oh yeah, you didn't go to
last
Axel.
year.
You were on a float trip.
I was on a float trip. A rafting trip.
Yes, you. I remember when that came up. It was just like, you don't have to go. She's like, okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that didn't. Like, okay, peace. Will Vanquish have Wraith clear front tubes and stock soon?
I don't know. Like that, a lot of that AR-60 stuff, I can't make you any promises there.
Have you ever had a raccoon try to steal your RC rig? I did, and I ran him over with said RC rig.
Trash Panda.
Will you sell the Woods Runner?
Everything is for sale, but
Always.
this one does not have a price yet.
Somebody liked my RC sound effect.
What was your RC?
Because I've been around them enough, I know how to. I know exactly what they sound like. What does making sure the drive shafts are phased matter?
The nature of how a universal joint works means that during the rotation of a drive shaft, there's a faster and a slower portion of the rotation. But when you have two universal joints and you match how the ears are aligned on each, it will cancel each other out. So at the end result, you will actually have a consistent speed. If you have them out of phase, it'll come out of your transmission and it'll have this fast, slow, and you'll get like a loping effect out of your front end. So if you don't have your drive shafts phased, you'll get just it's not nearly as smooth. You can make your whole drivetrain so much smoother if you pay attention to phasing your drive shafts.
Okay. Did you, in that spiel, did you say how you do it?
It's basically just lining up the ears on each end. So make sure that the ears of the drive shaft side on each end of the drive shaft are oriented the same. So, like make sure that they're all matching up. So the two ends that are connected, they should, that slide, make sure that those ears are the same. That's how.
J-Rock 860, obvi. Meaning obviously, yes, she did. Did you break a lot of parts, or are you always upgrading?
Now I generally have a really good idea of what it will take to make sure that my rig doesn't break parts. And so now if I break a part, it is very rare and usually very unexpected. Like doing something extremely dumb to make it happen. So that's I can't remember the last thing I broke really, other than maybe like stretching some rod ends. But I broke a universal shaft when we were playing RC soccer.
Oh, that doesn't count.
But that was absolute horseplay, and I got the front tire wrapped up in the banner material, like the plastic stuff, and it basically just wrapped itself around the tire, and I would not stop and just kept going, and it broke the shaft.
I can't believe that's
But then
all
I could keep.
broke.
But then I could keep RC soccering.
I can't believe that's all you broke.
Oh, it was absolute mayhem.
Yeah, that was silly. I mean, it was fun, but...
It was very fun.
Josh, on my new build, I am having issues with my axles moving forward and backwards when I compress the shocks. What is causing this?
Moving forward and backward. You might have to explain what you mean by moving forward and backward. Like if it's rotating, it's probably just link geometry, and depending on where you have the upper and lower links and the lengths of those links. But you'll have to explain what you mean by moving forward and backwards.
Okay. Is there a noticeable difference using the lightweight VFD motor plate versus the original Pro motor plate?
No, not like no, not a noticeable thing. It's just like if you're just trying to be super conscious about everything you're doing, it's just one option. But beyond that, it's not that noticeable, and it's not even an area where I think is super important to cut weight, unless you're just trying to be extra detail like that, trying to pull weight out of every area of the truck. So on most all of mine, I run the standard.
I will get back to the correct questions, but I need to jump forward a little bit because somebody said I was just outside crawling and some asshole sent the cops over.
Oh, that's rude.
I know. For what?
Being outside, I guess.
You can be outside.
Yeah, that's just a dick move.
Put a mask on your RC car. Tell them you're being safe. When the next new thing comes around, what's your process for evaluating a new product?
That's a really tough question. So I'll look at a lot of things like the materials things are built out of, how much material is around high stress areas, good practices for design like single shear or double shear mounting, just material thicknesses in areas that force transfers to, gear ratio designs, center of gravity and battery placement, which is center of gravity as well. Detail like scale style, how realistic a design might be, things like that.
Okay. When are you going to do more 3D printing videos?
I 3D print all the time, and I feel like I should do more videos on it. I don't know. That's just something I should do more often.
That's a more obnoxious noise in the
Oh,
RC
she
cars.
hates
For
the
some
sound of
reason,
it.
it cuts through my brain. I cannot stand that whine of that thing. What material and gauge would you recommend for making metal panels?
I like 0.025. That's the material thickness of aluminum I like. God, I hate when my mustache gets caught in the pop can.
Oh,
It sucks.
a first world problem.
It does it all the time. I wish the barbers would be able to get back to work soon. Safely, of course, but seriously. My beard is getting out of control.
Where's the battery tray?
Where's the battery? Oh, battery tray in this? It's under the hood. I'm assuming that's the question.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take a break so you can talk.
I refuse.
Oh, I don't care.
All right. I'll put this down and read questions only.
Yeah. You can.
Okay. All right. What does VFD and VFX mean? VFD means Vanquish Forward Design. I don't know what VFX you're actually referring to. Tools, I talked about a little bit before, but I use mainly the Vanquish drivers. When do the dash goodies begin? I don't know yet. That's a whole nother thing I've got to learn. Let's see. I just learned something. I can use my stock builds, please. Oh yeah, there you go. Phasing drive shafts. Where do you buy that big roll of two-sided tape? I need a roll like that. I don't even think that's like, I don't know. I just bought it. Amazon, probably. Do you get that 3M tape at Amazon? Wow, yeah. AutoZone or Advanced? It's probably from one of those. Did your engineering job still help you know what to do? Also, why did you stop civil engineering? Yeah, I mean, my engineering background still is very useful in a lot of things. Just day to day running a business there's a lot of things that still come into play with, legalese and procedures and government dealings and all of that. And then just regular things you learn in engineering school, physics and structural design, all that kind of stuff. It all comes into play. What are some good cheap steering servos? I don't know. I'm not one to. I don't have cheap steering servo recommendations personally. Do you think Pearl by the Fire will be postponed? I fear that it will, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Hey Josh,
Yeah.
I have a question.
What?
Why is there still a brass rod with
Oh yeah.
water in it in my freezer?
That's another project.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. I have some brass tubing in the freezer that's filled with water.
It's still there.
For water and Dawn actually, so that I'm going to try and bend thin wall brass tubing without collapsing it, like mandrel bending it. And I saw on how it's made that's how they do it for like trombones. So, but yes, if you open our freezer right now, there's just a random piece of brass. Let's see. My beard is 15 inches long. Yeah, I still try and keep it fairly tight. TRX 4 axles on SCX-10 2, easy swap. I know you did it once on one of your rigs. I've never done it on an SCX-10 2. I did it on VS4. And the VS410 chassis got a lot more clearance, so it wasn't that bad. I don't know on an SCX-10 2 how easy it will be. I have not tested the 10.3 much yet, or at all yet. Let's see. What do I think about the Losi Baja Ray? It's a cool style. It's just not the type of truck that I usually find myself driving. I just don't. I've got a Baja Ray and a Rock Ray, but just never got into them. What would be a good way to mount a Team Raffi hardbody Bronco on an SSD Trail King? You just gotta. That's something you got to do yourself. You got to see where the mounting points are, see what you have available, and then start either designing and 3D printing or making solid brackets to do it. Just one of those, you got to connect two holes. Find the shortest way between two holes and make it stick. Yeah. She said that's what she said. This one says wheelbase increases with length when shock are compressed. SCX-10 base build. Okay, that was the question earlier. Likely, what that means is that your suspension is sitting with a lot of downward angle in the links, trying to keep the links, short, flatter. You will have the least difference. Thing is that everything travels in an arc. So if your links are fairly flat, I know this flat like this, when it travels from here to here, there's very little difference in this, from this point to this point in the horizontal distance. When your links are very steep though, a little bit of suspension travel equates to a lot of change. Like you can exaggerate that to the most extreme example. If your links are straight up and down and the axle travels just a half of an inch, you've got an inch or more of change in axle. So, when you're at the very end, you have almost none. And the more angle you have, the more that will exaggerate. So you're right. You probably have too tall a shock. So your ride height's too tall. Links are too short. That's another thing. Is like if your axle needs to be here, normally, if your links are short, then that causes for more change in that wheelbase length. The longer your links are, the better that gets. It's kind of a geometry problem. When is the video going to be posted on the new Flip That Truck? This week. Let's see. Where can I buy an adapter to put beadlocks on a Futaba radio? Oh, I used to make that. I sold those designs to Hellfire Waterproofing, and I think he has RC Addict print them for him. Oh, hey Tom, what's up? More hard lines for an RC. Yes. So Tom, the brass tubing that I have. Yes, I want to be able to bend that tubing to have airflow through it, mainly for hardlining my air suspension truck. Exactly. Oh, jump down. Did you finish building that big rig from the other night? I did. Well, I finished building the chassis and such. And here it is. So obviously the body and all the bed work and all that needs a bunch of work, but there we go. I did not get the drive shafts fixed though with the pinion issue. Pain. Have I ever played Spin Tires Mud Runner? Yes, I have. I like it. For building the Poison Spider chassis design that I have for the 10.2 axles, would you recommend scaling it down to 80% like the Ibex chassis? Yes. That question's referring to the chassis design templates I have on my website, and I have one that was based off of the one of the original Poison Spider, the company, one of their builds. It was actually called the Venom chassis in the full-size world. So, yes, if you're building it for SCX-10 size, I would recommend scaling it down to 80%. I think it'd look really good. And that's probably the easiest chassis on there to build. It was one of my last ones that I posted up there. So I kind of learned a lot of the things that I should have improved over time, and that one goes together a lot easier than most of the others. Well, jumped a lot. Let's see. Is a SCX-10 with a VS410 chassis allowed at Axial Fest? Yes, it is, because the VS410 chassis is basically an Axial SCX-10 upgrade. So it's a little bit of a loophole, but they posted it. So technically, yes. You don't really need anything else. You can swap it directly across. So yes, it is legal. You ready to get back to reading?
Yeah, for a few minutes until my Instant Pot is done.
What are you making?
Your breakfast?
Oh, cool. Am I still going to go get pho?
No.
How come we don't have multiple lane roundabouts like Europe? Is that a good or bad design? There is lots of multi-lane roundabouts in the U.S. We designed several in the Kansas City area and areas around
Who
it.
is that? Who said
Multi-lane roundabouts are
that? Where are you at?
they're not necessarily uncommon. So, what's it?
Can you purchase separately the transmission spacer that comes in the VS410 chassis kit?
Man, I feel like that comes on one of the parts trees. I think it comes on the skid plate parts tree, which is available separately. I don't remember the part number off the top of my head, though.
You lost like 40 people when I left. Just saying. No.
Wow.
Pat Blair, he cannot.
What? What can't I do? Tell me how to live my life?
Yeah, show the new taillights.
Oh. That wasn't his question, was it? It was somebody else's.
No, it was something about traffic circles.
What about him?
Can you nothing. What kind of flow is your favorite? Josh
so
Ryan,
many
he
good ones.
probably designed those in Springfield, Missouri, because MoDOT had a lot of
MoDOT had a lot of issues at the time.
but a lot of contracts with you guys.
Yeah, we did a lot of MoDOT work. MoDOT also designs a lot of their own. I can't remember what I did in I don't think I did that one in Springfield.
What does your wife look like?
We have the technology to answer that. I should just take the bench camera and just point that at you, and then we can have a little picture-in-picture in the
Nobody
corner.
wants to see me.
We'll change. We're gonna change it next time. We're gonna do that,
No,
and then
no, I don't need a camera on me. They don't. They can hear me roll my eyes. Josh, have you heard about Traxxas making a new crawler trail rig?
No, I don't really think that. I don't think that they'll have anything significantly new for a while. I think that we'll still see the TRX4 basically roll for another couple years at least before we see anything major change. Here's the biggest problem is that the current wiring leads are short. Because they're somewhat routed through the chassis already.
There is a lot of roundabout things. They are horrible. Rather sit at a light than wait behind every other person waiting too long and being scared to enter the roundabout. Yes, people are dumb. The only thing I like about roundabouts is outbreaking people going into them. I wait until the last minute.
I mean,
Oh, those look good.
they do, right?
Yeah, you can't really tell how dark they are though with the light.
Yeah, it makes them look almost white.
I know,
They're
can you
very.
turn the light off? That didn't help. Dang it! Put your hand like over top. No, you still can't tell.
No. They're very
they're
red.
Deep red. They're really cool looking.
Yeah, they definitely get blown out in the light there, but yeah,
Hi, Mama.
they look.
Modot's still screwed up. Shocker. More princess no. Josh is the princess. Josh, my nickname for Josh is Princess. So perfect. VS10152 is the VFD transmission and skid.
Oh yeah, but the spacer he needs is not in the VFD trans one. It's the old one, which had like the original plastic servo mounts, the regular 3-gear transmission skid plate, and that little spacer.
On SDXN3, I installed the 14T pinion from the kit, and the drivetrain became very noisy. Noted no gear lash. Replaced kit pinion with a Traxxas 14T pinion, and noise was greatly reduced.
Interesting.
Nice.
I'll have to, if I notice excessive gear noise, I'll try that.
Yeah.
Being that it's a centered pinion, it's hard to say. It could definitely have a mismolding like that.
What kind of tire glue did you use to build those tires on your Ultra 4 build?
Black CA glue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just regular black CA. I don't think I used rubberized or anything. I don't think, at least. Yeah, and they still look good. You can't even hardly tell that I cut them.
Like your lights. Josh, of only 2 upgrades on SCX 10-2 Honcho, what would they be?
Universal front axle shafts first, and that'd be my first one for sure. And then trying to think what next. Better servo. Yeah, those would be my first 2.
Josh, what would it cost to have you build me a woods runner? Make me an offer.
I don't really build for other people. Like I build something I like myself, and then when I'm done with it, I sell it. So that just works better for me.
Okay, that's fair. Yes, we do have stock in black CA glue apparently. That and giant rolls of tape. Think you should add a quick fuel tube from the fuel cell to the side of the truck.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. I might even add some like fuel lines going forward. But I agree, a filler tube wouldn't be bad. If I did it though, I'd probably want to braze on a little filler panel. So.
What kind of wire are you using for the taillights?
Oh, that's that little thin wire there. That's out of an Ethernet cable. So I just cut the ends off and then strip the wires out of the middle. And you'll get like 5 or 6 pair of this real thin but stranded flexible wire. It's really nice. So, and cheap. Usually you can find those cables laying around somewhere.
You're like MacGyver of cables.
Yeah, right. It's hard to find small gauge wire sometimes.
Is it?
Yeah. The struggle.
Yeah. Sell me that woods runner then.
It wouldn't be cheap.
But everything is for sale.
Yes, everything is always for sale, but this one would not be cheap.
Except for the Ripper.
Yeah, the Ripper's not currently up. There's no price on it yet.
Getting all those scale points with the scale details on the fuel cell, I see.
I know. I'm a whole new man.
You might want to put a driver in there.
I'll add scale fuel lines before a driver.
I feel like I'm surprised more people don't send you dolls.
Let's not start that.
Yeah, let's start that. If anybody has a great driver.
No. I don't want...
Or actually. Are you breaking stuff?
No, I'm getting the battery out.
Oh.
My very safe ammo can.
Yeah, I'm glad we had that conversation, our little PSA the other night about
What do you feel better about?
lipos and things.
So this is one of my 1300 milliamp 4 cells. And this my Vanquish battery strap.
Can that wire handle 3S and such?
Yeah, well, voltage isn't, you don't really have to worry about voltage through wire like that. It's more about amperage. So it depends on what you're powering. Like, you could put 6S through that without, 10S. Like, it's not voltage. It's just all about whatever's on the other side pulling the power. So for this, having two little strips of 1-inch LED, there's no amperage needed, and that wire will handle it just fine. So
I use heat shrink through my fuel lines. Looks good, and you can get it in a lot of colors.
yeah, that's a good option.
Jesse, I would wipe my ass with leaves
What?
before I traded my new kitty for 24 rolls of toilet paper.
Psh.
Plus, Eddie panic bought toilet paper, so if I run out, I'll just steal some from him. I know we aren't watching an SBG video, but have you ever made an exhaust system pipe?
I have before, yes, a number of times. The Doodlebug had stacks even, which
Yeah.
and then also I thought about making an exhaust for this one, so I have some of this aluminum tubing here, and actually I was experimenting with trying to bend it, and out of the back side here, this is all TPU 3D printing filament, which it's just, I was trying to see if I could fill the tube with a flexible filament like that to be able to bend it without kinking, and that was unsuccessful, so I can throw that away now.
Well, at least it's not in my freezer.
Yes, that's the route this one's gonna have to go too, though. So
What do you know?
expect more freezer ornaments
I
soon.
thought it didn't work.
Well, I needed my 1/4-inch diameter bender to try that one. That's why it's still in there.
So you don't actually know if it works yet.
I've seen it on how it's made. I know it will work, but I might add a scale detail on this one even.
Let's see.
So.
Can you show the Ripper?
Uh,
Or back to Hacksaw Jim.
oh, we're talking about the drivers on that.
He got sold with the Doodlebug.
He did get sold with the Doodlebug.
And add a servo so the drive speed moves when you turn.
Steering wheel, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh, driver, maybe. No, I don't know.
I'll send him a driver and a Ford Ranger.
We still have plenty of Sprite box left for at least 1 or 2 more templates.
I'll put it in there, Michael.
What are you putting in where? For how many jelly beans?
Where'd you get the steering wheel from?
It came in here. I have no idea where it came from. But One other thing I plan to do is take all of these leads and cut them off, and then reconnect the ends, shorten them up so I don't have as much extra wire. So everything will fit comfortably in the front of this truck. Unless I actually decide to, I might decide to take and mount this receiver underneath of the dash area. You know, like ECU placement, basically just underneath. What are you doing, Safi? Come here. See how good she is? She won't even jump on the counter. Come on. Come on. Where are you going?
Jesse Schultz said I feel like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. Love my kitties. Look at my kitties.
So yeah.
Shielded guitar wire looks like scale hose.
Oh yeah. That sounds like something Joe, what's Moose Joe? He's a musician. Yeah. Learn something every day.
Nicole, I only have one RC truck. How do I convince my wife to let me spend $1,500 on one from Josh? Well, what my husband does is tell me that they sent it to him. He said, no, they sent me this one. I didn't buy it. They sent it to me. I'm like, I don't know about that. But no, he says, that's what he says. So, yeah, we don't really discuss that so much.
No.
No. But if I did, and he does have a separate account with his truck money in it from PayPal and stuff, and so I don't see that. So that's probably how he gets passed. Because if I did see $1,500 come out of my bank account for an RC truck, I would suffocate him in his sleep. Find sand works inside the tube.
Wait, what? What'd that say?
Find sand works.
Oh yeah, that would.
Or get spring benders, works great and prevents kinks.
I actually have a spring bender that I was going to try that with.
But yeah, 2 people said sand.
Sand would be, yeah, I should try sand.
Yeah, you can seal one end and fill with water. Thanks,
that is what I did.
That's why I have a fucking tube in my freezer that has been there for a week.
It wasn't a week.
It has been a week.
It has not.
Cactus Trail's covered.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Buy it for $1,500 and say you got it on a trade. He comes home with shit from new trucks from events, or anytime he buys anything. You know what he says to me? It's like famous last words. I sold a truck for it. Like anything he buys.
I do.
I sold a truck. He came home with one of those e-bikes from Axel Fest last year, and he said, "Oh, I sold a truck for it."
I did. That was it. I sold my UC Fab BDI.
Mm-hmm.
See.
Somebody's clowning on you for using body clips.
Okay. I'll take it because I'm still all about that the convenient lifestyle of being able to pull body clips and lift the body up. Because then I can get my battery, put it back down, and get back to it. That's. But I could find these are large will you hand me my body clip bin? Right, I think it's on the very bottom. Right by your feet.
It's not labeled.
It's not labeled. I should put a label on it. Good idea.
Oh, I was looking for that Tupperware.
I don't think you were.
Yeah, I was, because I have the lid for it.
I've had it forever. I think these are too small. Oof. Yeah, those are too small.
All that custom chassis and bodywork, and you still have hood pins?
Yes, I do.
Covering that stamped aluminum makes me sad. You should make and stamp the body.
I think I want to carbon fiber the body.
What kind of hardware is that?
That's just a hardware bin that I got from Screw Loose Hex Head Hardware a long time ago, and then I've just refilled it a million times. We obviously have a lot of hardware in bulk, so I refill as needed.
Oh, God.
I know, it's heavy. There, now we have smaller body clips. Hey. I don't know. Maybe we can come up with something better if I redo the body. If I carbon fiber the body, I'll come up with something smaller.
Somebody said use magnets.
Yeah, you can. Magnets are just not very secure. Like, they're not secure enough. Like, people don't know how I drive.
So will your S610-3 have a driver since it's included?
Yes. If it's got a molded driver, it stays. And Suits is painting my driver. What? I told him not to send me any pictures of the body. It's going to be a surprise.
Oh.
What?
Why do I feel like Josh would be a guy with a hairless cat?
We looked at
They're awesome.
We like those Sphinx cats.
I saw two of them in the airport one night that had sweaters on. People set them out like dogs, and they were the cutest and nicest cats I've ever. I love it.
We could have been that person.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Anybody know how long the Capra stock steering servo arm is?
I do not. I think a 20 millimeter is what I used, though.
How much money does it typically cost for a custom chassis like that one?
If you're gonna contact a builder, usually like a high quality builder, you could expect between like $600 and $1,000. Sometimes you can find builders who are newer out there, or maybe don't have much of a reputation yet, or maybe they do things in maybe a little bit of a faster way than a meticulous way, and you can get away with $300 to $400.
People are excited about your body clips. Can you pod for headlights soon?
They're excited that I'm using body clips.
No, they're just amazed at the amount that you have.
Oh.
Well, the body clips, Batman.
Like, yeah. When you need a body clip, you want to make sure you have a body clip. But
How much Tupperware goes missing in the kitchen? I really like that because it's always and always.
I bought all of that.
Yeah, but I always say, I'm like, do you know my big Tupperware, the glass one? And he'll be like, no, I've never seen it. And then oh yeah, I did have it at work.
Yeah.
Well, we know
But it's not shop related.
But we know who to go for the great body clips shortage of 2020.
I think I have black body clips now, though.
They said that too.
Because this one is it's annoying me that it's not.
Miguel Salzer said I made removable cowl induction hood vent to cover my body pins.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Have you ever used a screw on body clips?
I do have some of the incision ones.
Should take the post out and weld in some tabs and put some screws in it to hold the body.
I could. It's not a terrible idea.
Beautiful truck needs weathered seats.
I ordered the RC four-wheel drive PRP seats last week, so I'm sure they'll be here soon.
Are you gonna have your painter put the cowboy hat on your driver for the 10-3?
I have no idea what he's doing. As far as that goes, I sent him some reference pictures that I liked of a full-size Jeep, and that's basically it. I just said, there you go. And then I said, don't send me any pictures. Just send it and I'll be excited.
Sendero or TRX4 for a long-term upgrade as you go trail truck?
For me, I'd probably say Sendero just because I like the non-portal best. Granted, it doesn't have as many upgrades as the TRX4 does, so that's like a kind of a tough one.
Is Don Lewis under the septic tank, or was he fed to the tigers?
Oh, he's definitely fed to the tigers.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no way he's under the septic tank.
No.
Like, you don't have access to tigers and then say,
Let's dig a hole.
let's put him in a septic tank. Like,
Yeah, no, we're
like
definitely not.
maybe whatever was left of him got put in a septic tank.
You don't think tigers eat bones?
Well, I think they do, and they said that it even like dissolves in their stomachs.
Yeah.
But
Maybe show hogs too.
maybe if there's anything left. I'm just saying, like, there's no way that.
Right.
Yeah. Psh, the easiest question of the night.
Yeah. I found the correct part number, VPS 1011-5 for the transmission spacer.
Yes.
Comes with the VS 410 skid plate and chassis braces.
Yes, that sounds right.
Dom tubing, weld or silver solder.
Ball.
I can never say.
Solder?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that is your word. So I do, there's a couple of things. Silver soldering it is fairly easy, and I do like that method. It's easiest to not, get things too hot, and it's probably one of the easier ways. But you do have to make sure that your joints are super tight. You got to be real good about coping your tubes just right. And you can't really add pressure, like, to get things in place to weld first. Like, you just have to have it there and flow it right. So you have to be a lot more meticulous. Now, I like to use my TIG welder, which is a much more expensive tool, obviously. And then I will do what's called TIG brazing, which is using silicon bronze filler rod. And it means that you don't have to get your base material as hot. So you can hit the torch and then just start getting things heated up and then flow in your filler rod much faster than you would be if you were using regular filler. And that allows you to really flow around a joint. And then you can move the filler material around with the torch quite a bit easier than regular filler. And it makes things much easier than actually doing like a regular TIG weld with DOM, because since it's such thin wall tubing, it can be more temperamental, and you can blow a hole right through it and then just basically completely waste a tube.
Okay, I gotta go.
You gotta go deep compress your eggs.
Yeah.
So yeah, take the eggs out of the Instapot. Watching Shameless with my girlfriend. I watch you and keep missing stuff. Damn, Shameless. Let's see. I told Suits to give your driver an orange hat and your favorite road shirt. Let's see. What does a dig do? We'll answer that one. A dig is a mechanism that goes in the transmission, and it is a disconnect for the rear drive line. So it takes and it can disconnect the power from the transmission to the rear drive shaft. So it can have a couple of different positions. One is a freewheel, where there's just the rear axle is free to rotate however it wants. And that can be useful in a number of situations. But the most useful is when you take that mechanism and there'll be a lock position. And that will actually hold the rear drive shaft in a just complete, so these tires can't move at all, but the fronts can still spin. So then you can turn and hit it under power, and it'll almost pivot the truck around in place, which is insanely capable for quick turnarounds. And it can also be capable for, like, if you're up on a ledge and you disconnect the rear or lock it, and then you add power to the front until it really starts to just, you'll see that tire start to crinkle as it's getting that traction. And then right when it's like really wanting to pull you up, but can't quite because the rear's locked, that's when you'll re-engage that rear drive, and then all of a sudden it'll go right up a rock wall. Whereas if you didn't have that, it'd be in this situation, and this wouldn't be able to fight for traction because this rear would be wanting to flip you over. So it's one of those things that it's one of the most powerful tools, performance additives you can do to your truck, but you have to learn how to use it. But by all means, get it and start learning, because it's it's probably my most favorite thing you can add to a car. I think I want to add it to this, but it's with this truck and how the interior is in there, I'd have to add a servo back there, and then things are going to start getting tight, and it's going to be hard to keep this rear looking good. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Maybe I'll add the UC Fab servo mount to keep things tucked in and tighter. I don't know. There's some options there. Is RC pulling a thing on the West Coast like it is on the East Coast? Not nearly as much. Man, it was big in the Midwest, but not as much here. Are you drinking that nasty grapefruit bubbly stuff? Yes, and it's amazing. That truck you ended up with is awesome. Totally agree. Solid rod or tube? Solid rod is great for just being easy to work with, super simple, much easier to bend and not worried about kinking or anything like that. It's also like a tenth of the cost. But if I have my choice, and I would rather go with tube. It's really expensive. That is Princess Cupcake. You remember that? When I used to put that at the end of my videos?
Yeah, that's what I used to call you.
Yeah. But it was you in there.
You would tell people it was that you called me Princess, but really I called you Princess Cupcake.
Is there a dig for the SCX-10-2 honcho? The Vanquish dig is made for the 3-gear transmission. You will need to change the case out, but beyond that, it'll drop into a honcho pretty easy. Let's see. Does the 10.3 have freewheel dig or just lock? I think it technically has. I mean, almost any of them can have a freewheel. It's just a real tight spacing, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. I haven't really tested how the SCX-10-3 will handle that yet. This frame is 3/16 for the large stuff and 1/8 for this smaller. Do you know if the OG Wraith interior fits in the 1.9? I don't know for sure. I think that it does. I actually have one here that I planned to do that with, and I just never did. Does Vanquish and Incision make an overdrive gear set for the SCX-10-2? No, we don't. Is 4-wheel steering any good? Yes. It's just difficult to learn how to use initially, and you need good servos. Let's see. Yeah. Hope to see the 1.6 Willys. Yes, me too. Headliner coming soon. Like, add a headliner to this? That sounds crazy. I don't think that's needed at all. But I think that that's gonna wrap this one up. I think we've had a good stream. We got some work done. I'm happy with my inner fenders. Looks good. Wouldn't mind maybe figuring out something for the front, but maybe like a bent, kind of cool looking panel. So in the future, I think that is, one. Josh, is Max Daddy's Custom Bits building copies of your Crawlmasters truck for resale? So he's the one who, the new owner of my truck had him build him 2 more copies of it. Like, it's for the same guy who bought the actual truck. So super cool to see it. Now, I've been following along with it. He's doing really good work. Like, the work on the copies is so much cleaner than my original. He's really meticulous and does a really good job. I have to decide on what to. Well, I might see if he can build me a truck. I don't know what yet, but it looks like he's doing really good work. So I feel like I should own something that he does. Yeah, so I think that's it. We're done.
Yeah. Good night.
It was a good Sunday.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody for watching.
Everybody stay safe.
Have fun. We'll We'll see you. Well, I'll see you Wednesday live with Matt. Probably Friday again with my wife.
You think?
Yep. Friday. So, that's it.
Date night.
Date night.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.